solar works during the day and the batteries power your home at night. Call 632-2613 to see how solar plus battery storage can make life a little more convenient. MRE, the smarter choice.
Opinion. Nearly every Democratic presidential hopeful is in Iowa today.
19 Democratic candidates are expected at a hotel ballroom in Cedar Rapids, one of the largest gathering of candidates so far. Each candidate has been offered 5 minutes to speak at a dinner that honors the state Democratic Party Hall of Fame inductees. These type of pack as many candidates as you can events are becoming more frequent later this month. Most of the field is expected at Congressman Jim Clyburn's annual fish fry in South Carolina. The first debate is also over 2 nights later this month in Miami. Jared Halpern, Fox News.
President Trump will also be in Iowa this week. He's set to visit Council Bluffs in southwest Iowa to tour a renewable energy facility and deliver a speech about implementing year-round use of E15 and ethanol blend gasoline. He'll attend a fundraiser in Des Moines later that day. Broadway's big night gets underway tonight with James Corden back at the helm.
The biggest and brightest on Broadway will be honored at the 73rd Annual Tony Awards at New York's Radio City Music Hall. James Corden will take the stage once again as host.
It's a graveyard in Hadestown.
Hadestown leads the night, heading into the ceremony with 14 nominations in every category except for Best Actor. The musical is a retelling of the Orpheus-Eurydice mythology, where Orpheus travels to the underworld to rescue his fiancée. Ain't Too Proud to Beg followed with 12 nods, and Tootsie with 11 among the snubs for Best Play. The Tonys will broadcast live on CBS at 8 Eastern. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
Rafael Nadal pulled away in what had suddenly become a tight final to beat Dominic Thiem 6-3, 5-7, 6-1, 6-1 today for his record-extending 12th French Open championship. It raises Nadal's Grand Slam title count to 18, within 2 of Roger Federer's record for a man. I'm Rich Dennison, and this is Fox News.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Rita Tidegli of Manila, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Ingatan ang iyong tahanan, protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
2-for-1 dinner time is back at Ruby Tuesday Guam. That's 2 fresh garden bars, 2 tasty entrees, and a sweet dessert to share for just $25.99. 2-for-1 dinner time for limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
When your family needs medical care, how often do you find the need to visit multiple clinics? When a child has a serious ailment, do you find yourself meeting a medical provider only to learn you must go somewhere else for testing? At the FHP Health Center, you can find multiple specialties and testing services under one roof. And if your family needs urgent care, FHP is there for you with convenient weekday, evening, and weekend hours. Voted the island's best clinic in Pika's Best 2 years in a row. FHP, our island, your clinic. Learn more at fhpguam.com.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 Data2Go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is Data2Go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 6 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan, and here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Governor Lou Leon Guerrero Friday announcing that the administration is working on a plan to use local funds to pay claims to World War II survivors before Liberation Day this year on July 21st. Local legislation is now in the works to use some of the savings from the recent passage of a federal law eliminating the need for Guam to come up with matching funds to access its remaining affordable health care money. The plan is to compensate surviving Manamco only before the 75th anniversary of the island's liberation from Japanese occupation in World War II. Descendants of survivors would still have to wait for their reparations once the proposed fix to the Loyalty Recognition Act clears Congress. However, Congressman Michael San Nicolas said he supports the intent of Adeloop's quick payout of war claims, but he's concerned with the impact it may have. He said his office was not consulted about the decision, and the upcoming markup hearing on his own bill, H.R. 1365, does not include addressing the local actions. And Nicholas said he has some concerns about Adeloop's plan, including the potential for a delay in the remaining payouts and the possibility that some will be paid twice, once by the local government and again by the U.S. Department of Treasury. Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority is cracking down on illegal dumping activities taking place around its development properties. GURA Executive Director Ray Tapazna says over the last few months, they've held town hall meetings in Agate, Mauricio, Inarajan, Talafofo, and Jonia to discuss illegal dumping in those villages. Tapazna said he suspects some tenants may be involved in illegal dumping, and we've made it very clear, he said at a meeting last week during the town hall meetings, that if you're caught dumping illegally, it could jeopardize your ability to remain in public housing. GURA has already received a written warning from the Guam Environmental Protection Agency for illegal dumping activities in a ravine area next to a GURA housing area in Agate. Tenants are required to sign up for services with the Guam Solid Waste Authority as part of their housing agreement with GURA. And the new management at GSWA is now enforcing that requirement, said Tapazna. We'll have more news after this.
When it comes to power and performance, nothing compares to Dodge. And right now at Cars Plus in Mighty, you can save thousands on many Dodge vehicles in stock during our Dodge Performance Days. Like a new 2019 Grand Caravan SE, save $4,250, or save $6,150 on a new Durango SXT. Looking for more power? Take home a new Charger SXT Plus today for only $37,689, or save over $7,000 on a new Challenger GT. Get more power and performance at Cars Plus in Mighty during Dodge Performance Days. Cars Plus, driven by you.
Discover a new Galaxy. GTA introduces the new Samsung Galaxy S10 in 3 different sizes. The Galaxy S10 comes with cool new features like Power Share that allows you the ability to share your battery power with other devices. Or you can capture a wider world with its new camera featuring an ultra-wide lens for when you need to take pictures of the whole family. And with GTA handset payment option, you can take home a Galaxy S10 for $0 down. GTA, we start with you.
10 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. Governor Lou Leon Guerrero signed 2 recently passed bills into law Friday. Senator Kelly Marsh's bill number 59 is now Public Law 35-23. It establishes a commission to share the Chamorro perspective on the Chamorro culture since Westerners first arrived in the waters around the Marianas. The governor said she agrees that the people of Guam have been overlooked and poorly understood throughout history. Senator Tello Taitigwe's bill number 70 was also signed into law. It creates a task force to develop a strategy for disposing of waste oil from vehicles on island after the Cabras power plant is permanently shut down. The waste oil is currently burned at the plant, but when it closes, a new means of disposal must be found. Governor praised Senator Taitigwe for her effort to protect the environment. 24-year-old Tyler Francis Regis has been arrested on allegations of fraudulent use of a credit card. Regis is accused of using a Bank Pacific ATM card from a man who died in January of last year. Bank officials discovered discrepancies in the account. They filed a complaint with the Guam Police Department, and they captured an image of Regis when he made a withdrawal from a camera at a Bank Pacific ATM. His picture was sent to the media, circulated on social media as well, and on Saturday, Regis self-surrendered to the Guam Police Department in Agana. He was booked and confined. The case has been forwarded to the AG for prosecution. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with some weather.
It says here, partly cloudy skies today, Kevin, with isolated showers. Winds out of the east, 10 to 15 miles an hour. Daytime highs today, hot 90, and overnight lows near about 79 degrees. Sunset tonight at 6:47. And we have been absolutely blessed with some great-looking sunsets over the last couple of nights here. Sunrise in the morning about 5:53. Give you an image of what Michael Knight was looking at. Where's this? When did you get this picture taken, Mike?
That is not my picture.
That's not yours?
Nope.
Was the front of the office. Are you sure?
Well, it may have been from...
Who's taking pictures at the front of the office if it's not one of us?
That might have been from Saturday or something. I sent you one that I took Sunday, actually, from home, but that's not one that I took recently. That may be from Saturday or
All right, I'll dig that one
sure.
out later on. We'll take a look at the radar imagery and give people an idea of what it's going to look like now. And it's hard to tell. This looks like some kind of alien space creature here. What is that?
Well, actually, there's just a bunch of unnecessary artifacts in the radar right now. Those could be flocks of birds or just little ripples of heavy cloud. There's really no rain or anything, and I'm looking at my radar on my phone, and it shows absolutely nothing.
Okay.
So these are just some just little weird artifacts that are popping up in the radar. It happens every now and then due to atmospheric conditions. Right now, there's really nothing. You can see on the satellite picture here, the pinks are really settling in, which means we actually have some fairly dry air over the top of us right now. High pressure pushing a band of clouds down to our south, keeping the rain down there, which is where it stayed all weekend long. And that was kind of the iffy thing that the Weather Service was talking about last week. It was whether that trough was actually going to be able to get this far north, and it never made it. So on Friday night, they actually made some pretty significant changes to the forecast, and we wound up with a dry weekend. Looking like we're going to have a dry week ahead as well. Fire danger starting to go up a little bit more without the rain, so be careful out there.
Gotcha. 6:13 in the morning, almost 6:14. That's news and weather together, brought to you by Bank Pacific, where others put branches, they place roots.
The sky's the limit with Bank Pacific's secure MyCloud banking. You can access your account 24/7 with your smartphone, your computer, your iPad, or any other tablet. You can pay bills, set up alerts, check your balances, wire transfer money. It's never been easier. Enroll online or come on in and see one of our friendly staff. Digital Life, Digital Solutions. Bank Pacific.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Viva Bank Pacific.
I know it as like it read his mind. I knew James Howard was going to come up and say, that's not a flock of seagulls, dude. Those are UFOs out there. That's the aliens that fly around here, and they've got that alien headquarters. It's underneath the water there. It's at the bottom of the Marianas Trench where even James Cameron hasn't gotten down to. And they fly through there, and they go through. There's a little hole in the center of the island of Guam, and that's where the base is. You don't believe me, do you? All right. More on that a little bit later on.
I'm really trying.
6:14, portions of the program brought to you by the guys over at King's Restaurant. The Crazy 19 menu still in full effect out there. I said Crazy 19. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, apps, snacks, whatever you want, desserts, all on the Crazy 19 menu. Find it at King's in Tamuning and Harmon. Always open, always local. Also brought to you by American President Lines. APL is shipping the future. Micronesia Renewable Energy. You know, there's never been a better time to go solar. And the guys over at Cars Plus might still be doing their performance days. Might still have a couple of those 2018 Dodge Chargers on the lot. How about a Challenger GT? Awesome looking ride for your awesome best life. Find that at Cars Plus in Mighty.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Took a chance, went out, hit the beach yesterday, and because I thought maybe there might be some grill marks, and sure enough, we got some grill marks. A lot of high-altitude clouds up there in the sky. Seem to keep things a little bit cooler than usual. It still got hot. Still could hear the skin sizzling on my skin, but it was a nice day for grill marks over on the beach place yesterday. Nice weekend. I hope everybody had something fantastic, an excuse to pull out the camera and take a picture. We'll talk about some of mine and some of the big headlines in a couple of seconds. But first, it is the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point. My name is Ray. Thrilled, as usual, to be here with you, especially on a Monday morning after such a busy weekend for just about everybody. Michael Knight is our weather whisperer. Duke Sky Talker is his weather nickname, his actual handle. And so he's the guy that's going to take a look at some of the maps that we're looking at and maybe give you some ideas of the observances of what's happening climatologically here on Guam. Was that the correct usage of the word?
More or less.
More or less. Thank you. Yeah, it's nice to hear that. 988-5874. If you want to WhatsApp or call Mike in the studio at 888 825-5888-TALK is the telephone number. And if you've got a thought in your head about whatever your observations were, no doubt that you had a chance to get together with people over the weekend. What'd you guys talk about? What was the big deal in your conversation? What was it that seemed to have everybody all captivated and talking about stuff? What was the big topic out there? Was it the balloon ban? Maybe. Let's spend a little bit of time talking about that in the program. Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post. Good morning.
The big news is Jollibees.
I hear that.
Be due.
What is it? Is it 4 or 5 potential
Four over
locations?
the next 5, 4 new stores over the next 5 years.
All right, now, and it's not just us saying that. There is. If I told you, I've
that
got
was the announcement from the president at the official grand opening on Saturday.
How many grand openings have they had for that place?
Well, this was the official one.
Okay, all right. So that brings in all of the people, the big shots from the Philippines
Right.
and the franchise holders and all of that stuff. But yeah, and we are not the only ones talking about it. As I've said many times, I've got a Google alert, and any time that there's a story about Guam that gets printed up in any of the off-island press, of which there's several, I'll get some kind of a notice. And there were 1 or 2 or 3 places, Business Watch and Business World magazine. There's a few other websites that have taken that story and saying that's kind of a big deal. Population 160,000 people here, and it's possible we may at some point have more Jollibees around here than we've got McDonald's.
That would be crazy. We need 3 more restaurants, so to kind of round it all out. We need an Arby's.
Mm-hmm.
Got to have an Arby's. We also need an In-N-Out burger, not because I like them, but because lots of our folks here, like from California. And we also need a Whataburger. That way, they and In-N-Out can beat each other up for the best burger on the island.
All right. So, I've been to an In-N-Out. I went to one in Los Angeles a couple of years ago, if for no other reason than to go there. Because everybody says, oh, if you're going to L.A., you're going to be the Roosevelt Hotel's right over there. You got the Strip right on the other side. You got to go by the In-N-Out burger, and I got one, and it was good, but I mean, it wasn't. Wasn't all that. It wasn't the thing that It's not. I didn't go back at the end of the line and have another one.
There you go.
That's the test. I mean, when they opened up Shooters in Agania, right? I stayed away for a couple of weeks until the crowd kind of dies down, and I went in there, and it became one of those places where I think I'm gonna eat here again tomorrow, right? I was there on a Monday. I'll go back on Tuesday because I thought it was good. So I didn't get that sense from the In-N-Out burger, frankly. And I've mentioned this many times over the course of my 40 years in broadcasting. Yes, I'm going to lord that over everyone from now on, is the old house of Chinfi in Anigua. Not the new house of Chinfi, but the old one. It used to have over on the side. It's one of these old buildings that looked like it survived the Second World War and the bombings and all of that. But there used to be an old Filipino guy in Chinese restaurant, old Filipino guy in the kitchen, and he made, I thought, maybe the best burger I've ever had on Guam. Hand thrown, right? You get the meat, throws the meat in there, does it all by himself, and sticks it on this gotta have been 100-year-old grill, and maybe that imparts a whole lot of flavor to it. And so while that's cooking, he throws a couple of just plain old American bakery Pullman bread in a toaster, puts a little tiny light toast on it, and put the meat on top of that, stick a thing of cheese and a pickle. There you go. We're finished now. Condiments you put I think and this we're talking about Chinfi in the early 80s. Your condiment lists include soy sauce, ketchup, and mustard. You could ask for some mayonnaise. Yeah, but other than that, that was, as far as I'm concerned, that was the best one, and there's never ever been another one better. Somebody else is going to chime in. Patrick Maloney saying Dairy Queen back in the old days. Randy Landis wants to have a White Castle down here. Look. Here's the thing about White Castle. This is not rocket science. I've seen you go to the White Castle in Vegas. You are essentially getting your food in the kitchen. You can see them cooking it, and it's dinner bread, and they cut it in half, and they cook up this big square of ground beef, and I think the seasoning is basic salt and pepper.
Yeah.
Throw in some onions.
Nice.
And then, bang, you're done.
Can't really beat that. Dairy Queen's fine, but there are 2 different kinds of Dairy Queens. There's the Dairy Queen that only serves ice cream, and then there are the Dairy Queens that are part of the Brazier food group, and they're the ones that serve the food. They serve you stuff like
hot dogs,
steak fingers with gravy and toast.
Never had any of that. So, how did we get started on this? It's not even 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning. We're already talking about chow. Where are we? 6:22 in the morning, and let's take care of these guys here.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see the troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
Ismail is back. And everybody knows it now because it's finally back at the top of the list. He was playing a little bit from the States, but, it's the States. So but he's back home apparently because he was able to get number one position today. John Ray right behind him. James Howard, there's Dennis Bensour and Landon Nadler. Larry, Lady D is online. She rounds out the, top six here. Al Batista and Lynn Vince, Borja Polino, Nick Perlasky, and Rico Blancaflor made it into the top 10. The amazing thing is that Rico Blancaflor is listening in Manila, which is a city in the Philippines. Some of you might have heard of it. And the thing is, if you're listening in Manila in the Philippines, it's 4:20 in the morning. What are you doing? What are you doing awake? And apparently, he says he woke up at like... Apparently, he woke up extra early and thought, I wonder if I'll be able to do this. I wonder if I'll be able to sneak in. Well, like I said, top 10, not bad at all. A bunch of other people on the line now. I got Uncle Robert Underwood. Uncle Carl T.C. Gutierrez is also online. I see John Ray Taitano. Juan Carlos Benitez is on. My God, this is just star-studded already. Anita Muffness with her Valentine's eyes. I got Johnson Nicholas, Charlene Marchessault, Mark Cruz is waving. Nice picture that you posted up on Facebook. And thanks very much, Mark, for visiting the AK BMW showroom to say hello and blow a kiss. That was nice. Ken LG's on. Further proof that Ismail is a time-traveling alien is the fact that he was able to sneak in and get back to number one here. Mingo Ree is there. I got Randy Kruger. Who may also be a space alien. I'm not sure. There's Tommy Bernardo, Eddie Cruz, Sharkey. Ooh, you're on early this morning. That's amazing. Dave Torrey is up and online. Bob Camacho, Pam Duvall, and thank you very much for swinging by on Friday as well. There's I think everybody got a double dose of all of the brownies that were served there. Chetch Mesa's online. I see Vivian Cunningham is there. Smug Wimp is online. Tony and Annette and Pinko Addo waving at everybody. Smug says Arby's and a Chick-fil-A, please. Yeah, yes on the Chick-fil-A. They do that so well. Marketing is awesome. The only thing is they would become another of these places to go, but are closed on Sundays. Now, I kind of, there's a bunch of places, every once in a while, like, Sunday, 5 o'clock, and I go, okay, don't feel like cooking, don't feel like sticking around the house, and go and try to find some place to go eat and spend a couple of minutes with friends. And they're just, some of the places where I like to go during the week aren't open on Sundays, but if it was Chick-fil-A, I'd want them to be open every day here on Guam, even though I know that's against their corporate plan. Golden Corral says Ismail. Nate Timinglu's online. Eddie Artero's there. Pat Maloney says, Dairy Queen, buddy. I got Lou Sanchez listening, I think still online and out of town.
Sundays are peanut butter and nanner sandwiches.
I suppose. There's also nice Rico Blancaflor with the memory of the old House of Wong. Sure. Dennis says, bring back the Hooters. There was a Hooters here on Guam. It didn't do well.
Yeah, because it was put in that place that's cursed.
I don't know. Because they had one. I want to say it's the same people that were running the Hooters in Manila. And I'm going, how do you not have a Hooters in Manila? It should be just wildly hand over fist successful. And then somebody said, no, because we have the Air Force One and LA Cafe. Yeah. So you can stare at it and get the tease. You can go someplace else and get the whole enchilada, if you will. Last Dairy Queen was at Big Navy's gas station. They left out there in about 2005. Who else is playing around? The old man at Cool Spot in Barragata had a great burger too. You know what? That's a fact there, Eddie. But you didn't go to Cool Spot when you were in a hurry. That was the thing, because there was always a line of people, and B, they kind of finessed that burger there. And I think you could still, if you wanted to, put it together. Pam Duvall with another reminder, A&W Root Beer, which used to be, was it Marine Corps Drive? And there it is. It was for a while a funeral home, and I think it's going to be. I think they're going to turn it into some kind of a clinic. I'm not sure exactly what it is that Safa wants to do with that place. Joette Cruz, Juanita Mache, Edilberto Santos de Castro says, "Good morning, Guam." Well, good morning back at you, buddy.
Man, I'm not sure I want to go to a clinic that used to be a funeral home. Might bump into an old patient or something.
Ray Cruz, food stamp, Saipan, nice. Five Guys, says Randy Kruger. You know what? I will back you up on that one, though. Five Guys is a fantastic burger. Simplicity is the key. That's what it's all about. Anyway, 6:27 in the morning. So what'd you guys talk about all weekend? What'd you guys end up doing? There's more graduations and little award ceremonies here and there. There was some of that going on. Goofing off over on the beach with some friends yesterday. And I'd love to tell you what they were talking about, but the conversation was just all over the place. It was very difficult. It was one of those like squirrel conversations, right?
Oh,
so you could try to lock in on the conversation, and then somebody would say something else. And that was the conversation. So it's not like we sat around and talked about crime and machete attacks.
Right. I thought it was an interesting comment on our Facebook feed here. What about the carnival? I have heard no one talk about going to the start of the carnival this weekend. How about you?
Because they changed the dates so much.
Yeah.
You remember there was I want to say it was supposed to be like the 5th, and then the governor's office said we're going to do a proclamation signing, or we'll be there for the starting ceremony. And I want to say that was going to be Thursday or Friday, and then they sent something out said no. And we talked with Angel Sablon a little bit about the other day. He said no, I'm going to push it off until Sunday. I saw that they had taken out an ad in one of the weekend newspapers, but nobody reads the weekend newspapers until Monday, babe. I don't know if anybody caught that. So that's the deal. But yeah, the carnival is open and apparently has started it off yesterday. If you were there, love to hear from you. What was that like? 888-8255-888-TALK. Top of the table of contents today, depending on where it is that we want to go. Might want to remind you that go if you have expect a tax refund from 2018 returns, and you've got error-free up to, I think, February the 1st is where they're at now. There's supposed to be something like $6 million in refund money that's supposed to be in the mail today, bringing the total to something like $40 million since Daphne and Ed Burns started writing checks over at the Department of Administration. $40 million worth of tax refunds. And it's not that much time has passed since the first check has gone out. And this one, do you feel it? Do you feel out there in the economy? Are you feeling that $40 million floating around here? Is the question? Is it tougher to get a seat in your favorite restaurant? Is it are there more lines for some of the services that you try to get? Gas station, whatever. Are you beginning to feel like you've got all of that business floating around out there? So that's one of the big stories that I think is out there. And obviously, there's we've got this crime thing that we've gotten. I hate to say it, but this town's starting to feel like crime island, meth island, and the criminals that are either selling meth or the people that are buying it that need to be able to support that habit, going out there and burglarizing and stealing cars and doing all that stuff. And then there's the fella. The ghoulish ATM crime that's out there. Guy running around with a Bank Pacific ATM card.
He was caught.
Self-surrendered, is my understanding.
That's right.
And decided to turn himself in. Can you imagine, though? I mean, like I said, there's something ghoulish about that. The guy is, you take somebody's ATM card that's passed on and
He must have felt guilty since he self-surrendered. So
I'm wondering what the other side of that story is. We'll learn as we get closer and closer to it. I've got some things on the magistrate reports that I'll mess around with for you. Plus what I consider to be some of the very interesting clippings that are out there. Up to and including this story here from, was it Saturday's Guam Daily Post. Commissioner responds to calls to sell utilities. Somebody on the CC's kind of butthurt over comments made on the radios. More on that in a couple of minutes, but right now we got to break into headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Affidavit, good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning: a bill to allow the two most beneficial health care proposals is likely to increase the cost to all Guam taxpayers of providing health care coverage to GovGuam employees and retirees. According to testimony heard Friday evening on Speaker Tina Munya Barnes' Bill number 94, Introducing the bill, Barnes said the intent is to ensure that our GovGuam employees continue to receive the highest quality health coverage and not the lowest cost option. However, under questioning from Health Committee Chairwoman Senator Therese Terlahi, DOA Director Edward Byrne acknowledged that the probability is that the wider the benefit, the more it's going to cost. Guam police have arrested a 39-year-old Roque Mendiola Quintanilla on multiple burglary allegations. According to a statement from GPD spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau, surveillance footage linked a Nissan reportedly owned by Quintanilla to at least 5 burglaries. And Saturday, Tapau says, police identified the pickup and attempted to stop it, but Quintanilla didn't comply and led police on a chase until he abandoned the vehicle and fled on foot. He was eventually caught, taken into custody. He is accused in the January 11th burglary at Changchin in Harmon, the May 16th burglary at Carrier Guam in Harmon, and the June 6th burglary at the LG store, also in Harmon, among other robberies. Quintanilla is now facing charges of burglary, criminal mischief, criminal trespass, among other allegations. The official grand opening of the Jollibee restaurant in Dededo was held Saturday, and Dennis Flores, Jollibee president, announced that the company plans on opening 4 more Jollibees on Guam within the next 5 years. Flores said Jollibee is still scouting locations for the new stores. He said it's part of an aggressive expansion plan that includes new stores in Italy, Canada, England, and Malaysia. The recently opened Guam restaurant, said Flores, is now the second highest grossing stores among Jollibee's 1,400 restaurants worldwide. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Gotcha. 634-888-8888 is the telephone number to iConnect. Give them a call a little bit later on or swing by their website, conveniently located on the World Wide Web at iConnectGuam.com, and ask about some great plans they've got for your mobile and internet lifestyle.
If you're driving, chances are you'll need gas soon. And by the growl in your tummy, a trip to the grocery store too. But don't just buy gas and groceries without getting double miles. Instead, apply for the new United credit card from First Hawaiian Bank and start earning double miles towards your next trip. Gas, groceries, getaway. With the new United credit card, apply at FHB.com. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC. Equal housing lender. Additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Nothing traffic anywhere on Guam right now. North and southbound Marine Corps Drive up in Dededo and the Jigo area looking pretty good. I see a little bit of a slowdown over by the intersection of Marine Corps Drive and Route 3, but south of that, everything is looking all right. Some of the intersections might slow you down because they've got these lights, you see. And northbound Marine Corps Drive, if you need to take that turn to come into the iConnect building or where the radio station is, that center light there isn't changing. It's red all night long. So you're going to see a lot of cars, people that just want to hang a Louis around there, going to be waiting for a long, long time. Hopefully somebody over at DPW, which is right across the street, will recognize that and press the Control-Alt-Delete on that and reboot the system. Looking at other traffic, Marine Corps Drive, central part of the island into the downtown Agutney area, everything is looking good. Don't see anything slowing you down, not even Big Navy in Sumai. It's 6:35, and that's right now traffic here on The Point.
Valley Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Valley Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Valley Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Rediscover talk radio here. It's the Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
I tell you what, on trail on Saturday, doing some hiking with fast hiking with some buddies down south, and got to the end of the trail right around sunset, and it was down over in between Seti Bay and Sella Bay, and that kind of outlook there, and right off in the background was the sun that was beginning to set, and I thought this would make a nice picture, so I got out the camera and did a little selfie of me standing in tall grass at the end of the trail with the sun just about going. It might have just hit the edge of the horizon prior to that, and there were a million other pictures that we're taking of that sunset on Saturday night. I could see them all on Facebook. Saw some nice sunset pictures from last night as well. Hey, anytime you want to share those, 988-5874. That's 988-5874. Love to take those things and put them out there. Just because there's so much other bad news that's floating around. It's nice every once in a while to get into a story that does not involve crystal methamphetamine or druggies or anything like that. And there was a story. Do I have it? I want to say it is page. There it is. Page 8 of today's Guam Daily Post. And I sure do wish this story was going to be on page 1 of the Post, because I think we needed to encourage our kids to excellence. Guam's Daniel Kang brought home 2 awards from the 2019 Intel International Science and Engineering Fair, notably the largest international pre-college science competition in the world. A repeat winner at the annual island-wide science fair, the JFK High School Junior represented Guam at the fair from the 12th to the 17th in Phoenix, Arizona, came out as a 4th grand award winner in the materials science category and the top contestant of his category for the Air Force Research Lab Award, according to a news release. I don't even know if I can tell you what his experiment was, this science fair project. It's called Novel Graphene Nanoplatelet and Ket Gen Black Embedded Pigmentless Acrylic Emulsions for next generation flexible electronics. Did your head just explode there for a second? Let me just repeat that. Novel graphene nanoplatelet and Ket Gen Black embedded pigmentless acrylic emulsions for next generation's flexible electronics. Basically, making electrically conductive paint with low-cost carbon nanomaterials. We're developing students like this here on Guam. I think that's absolutely terrific. So congratulations to young Daniel Kang and his entire family. Wouldn't it be great if he was able to take the knowledge and experience he has and go on to college and get himself some kind of advanced degree in this kind of science and technology, and then come back to Guam and have a job where we can put all of that stuff at work? Yeah, that guy's gonna work for space programs or something like that. I don't know, Men in Black? Is it possible? 20 away from the top of the hour, 888-8255-888-TALK. Love stories like that when we can. We'll make sure that we can highlight them here. This one here is in Saturday's paper. I thought was interesting. I had not heard it yet. Consolidated Commission on Utilities Commissioner Francis Santos has asked the financial officials of power and water utilities to calculate the value of their agencies in response to calls for privatization. Who's been calling for privatization around here? Who is it? Who's the guy?
You.
Just to silence the naysayers out there, or so-called experts out there, can our 2 CFOs give us the value of what Guam Power Authority and what Guam Waterworks Authority is today? Because if we wanted to sell it, I want to throw that number out there to the people and say, here you go, this is yours. Is this something that you want to sell so my grandchildren and great-grandchildren could know we took part in selling of the Power Authority and water utility? Santos responding to apparent statements made by members of the public whom he did not name, but specified counting 3 people, and that the remarks were made on the radio. Who I've been talking to on the radio about selling off the utilities, making another pitch towards privatization. There were 2 or 3 people I talked to last week. I'll try to remember who they are. Although now that there's going to be some kind of a pushback, maybe they want to return to some kind of anonymity. Wait. There's people chiming in on the Facebook. Says, what? Yeah, sell, says Gary Shawnols. Tall tale regulators, are they among those who are calling for it as well? I'll back you up, and I'll tell you why. It's not that I'm gung-ho Marine about selling off the utilities. It's just that there's these questions about oversteps that were made by a version of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities, and there's a lot of people that we're talking about. Well, we got to get rid of the CCU, and I'm not one of those guys. I don't want to return a wholesale return of the management of our utilities. The last people that I want to give that to is the guys over at the legislature. But that's where it was before, until once upon a time we came to our senses and said, let's unpoliticize this as much as possible and put it in the hands of commissioners. And these commissioners would work with the utilities and figure out best practices and best paths forward, like a board of directors or something like that. And there was a lot of talk about, and I remember some of the original people that were running for jobs on the CCU. I mean, there were big guys in the business leagues. There were big guys in the PEs. They had PEs at the end of their names. But all of a sudden we started getting some political names that people remember best. And those were some of the folks that began to populate the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. So we're at that at point now where maybe there is that feeling, huh? And everybody said, well, it's all politicians now, so basically it's the same as putting it in the hands of the legislature. We ought to get rid of the CCU. And I said, no, get rid of the reason that the CCU exists, if you want to do that. And that would be to take the power company and sell it to somebody that will make electricity for us. Why does it have to be the job of the government of Guam to make electricity? Really, at the end of the day, what do we want out of the government? Public health, public safety, and educate our kids, give them a decent education so they can win these science fairs in the States. And that's what we want to do. Well, what about the water? What about the water? Do we want to sell the water and all of the water rights out to a company, one of these multinational water companies? Won't they, at the end of the day, just rape us over the coals for increased rates? Where are they going now? Here, under our own management. Is that something that we want to do? Sell our water rights. It's the people's water. Hanami Tautau. It belongs to us. They've had that conversation in some places, and that's where that's all I wanted to do was get that conversation started. I'm glad people are getting attention on it. I counted 3 people that said, let's sell the utilities because we can do it better. I don't know who the we is. I kind of wonder who would buy this utility on Guam. Santos said, there'll be an uprising if we try to sell the water on Guam. Everybody that's told me we own our water, never talk about selling something that we own. But nope, the experts on the radio station. Hey, let's look at it. Is that so bad? Who said butthurt? Trying to remember if we're allowed to use butthurt on the radio. But at any rate, that's one of the places where we've been taking the conversation in the last little bit, and you're welcome to join it. 888-8255-888-TALK. That guy is going to replace GPA and the CCU. Not the water rights, the water delivery system. Ken OG says, CCU members need more coffee. I see Francis Salas there. Yeah, political names in there. The CCU, the CLTC has lost their way and forgot what their true mission is, says Eddie Cruz. And Ken LG says 4 out of 5. What you're trying to say is 4 out of 5 commissioners are former senators, which is correct. I see Daryl Taggarty's there, Jackie Cabrera online. And more. Ken LG says, need to bring in an outside appraiser to get the true value. Can't trust CCU or the utility managers to do a good job. What was the name of the guy? I think I remember it. If my memory doesn't fail me. Wasn't it Chris Stahl, one of the guys that was in between, to help broker the deal that eventually got the buyer for the old Guam Telephone Authority? I mean, this goes back 15 years, 16 years, something like that. But there's ways to do that, where you bring in somebody that it's not like we'd stick an ad in back of the Guam Daily Post. Here's Guam Power Authority, $350 million. Come and buy it. Somebody, you get somebody in, and they come and they do an appraisal and figure out what it is that we own, what the assets are, what the credits and what the debits of the system are. Figure out who's going to buy it, who's going to own our debts. How are we going to who's going to get what share of the outstanding collections that there are out there? There's that kind of thing. And then you put together the paperwork, and it comes to document that thick, and eventually it gets signed off, and we get this big escrow number. And then before you know it, there could be somebody else running things. We sold the telephone authority, and there were people there that were up in arms and against the idea of selling off the Guam Telephone Authority. But we did. And you know what? We didn't die. None of us are dead because we sold GTA. In fact, I had the opportunity to hang out at the new GTA Experience Center over at the Landmark Building. And incidentally, the Landmark Building is absolutely gorgeous. But you're going to need a new phone for yourself, or a new plan for yourself, or maybe you're in a business and you're looking at like this old rotary phone on your desk. Come on, I think maybe it's time to upgrade. They can do that for you. They got these cool digital systems, and you can go in there and, quote, experience all of them at GTA. Tell you what, if it was still the old telephone company, if it was still Guam Telephone Authority, we might still be slinging old rotary phones as the state of the art. Or maybe one of those little digitals, right? What's the dual tone? The old dual tone phones. Beep, 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 beep. DTMF, that's what they are. 888-8255-888-TALK. Tomas, already up on the line. Good morning. How you doing there, buddy?
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Frisky for a Monday.
If Capcom would have still owned GTA, would have still be using cops on the string. But you know what? As far as the electricity is concerned, we got to ask ourselves this question. Will we have control of how much electricity a private company will sell us? Because they would have monopoly if they're the only power-producing company on the island, and they say, okay, we're gonna sell the people of Guam 80 cents per kilowatt hour. We got to pay their price because they're the only producers of power on the island.
No, we still got to remember there's still a Public Utilities Commission. And the Utilities Commission would have veto power over that. They'd, in my mind, they'd be able to go back and say, no. No, you show us the numbers that justify that kind of price for a kilowatt hour.
But the question is, will the Public Utility Agency have control over a private company? That's the question.
Write it into the documents. I mean, the GTA Public Utilities Commission has oversight over numerous telecom companies here on Guam.
If we could work it out that way, where a private company has the obligation to follow the Utilities Commission, yes. But we got to make sure that if we do that, we got to have control of how much they sell their power to us.
Well,
you know?
So there's all kinds of places where the utilities, where the electricity and the water are provided by a private company, a private organization, and like anything else, there are numerous cases where it appears that there has been some lousy negotiating, and certainly in the case of water. There are some companies. I remember there was, what was the name of the company that wanted to come out here? I want to say they did do some work for GWA and finish the work, and they were out. But there were people that just the mere mention of their name got people uncomfortable. I'll remember. Simon Sanchez is listening, and he knows exactly what the organization is I'm talking about. But you know, in my mind, it comes down to just being smart about putting a deal together that will always work for the people of Guam.
Yeah, that's okay. That's true. We can do that. Yeah, that'll be okay. But another question that we got to ask ourselves is that if we keep selling all of our assets, what will our net worth be if we don't have any more assets because we sold them all? So we got to think about those. We got to have a long debate between the people of Guam so they can understand that if we keep selling off what we got, what would be our net worth is on the island. Okay, so
I couldn't even tell you. I have no idea how GPA and GWA contribute to the island's net worth.
Well,
You know, and for calculation purposes, it would be nice to take some of that debt. There's between GWA and the Guam Power Authority, I'm sure that there is some debt that is accountable to the island's deficit. Not deficit. Overall debt is the word that I'm looking for. And if that debt were to be taken on by another company, it would actually, I think, increase our abilities to be able to borrow funds.
Yeah.
Because you know, it's like they've been spun out. It's like taking their name off the mortgage.
Yeah. Okay, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
The rest of our credit should actually go up as a result of that. 6:52 in the. I don't have the numbers in front of me. It's not that I'm completely unprepared in this conversation. There is an abstract, if you will, on Gita's website where you can take a look at how much the government of Guam owes in total. The entire government of Guam. Not just departments and agencies that have borrowed based on legislative activities. We've got money that we've borrowed that contributes to this overall debt position that we've got on the island. You can look that up. Like I said, it's over at the Gita website, and among other important documents that you will find on that site. 6:53 in the morning. 888-825-888-TALK. Ray Tapazna on the program in the next hour. He'll be talking about cracking down on trash and crime of the Gura properties that might be being committed by Gura clients, individuals that might be living in Section 8 housing that have not yet picked up an account with GSWA and take their trash, and rather than dispose of it responsibly, might be dumping it in the boonies behind the Section 8s. So they're doing town halls and things like that. Part of it, I understand, is also a reminder that if you are a client and you are living in Gura housing, no marijuana smoking for you in the house, because there's federal dollars that are helping support your rent here. So and the federal government's not on the side of that just yet. So you're not supposed to be smoking and cultivating marijuana while you are in the Gura homes.
They're the only ones that are smoking right now. They're the only ones that can afford it.
Everybody, is that? I don't mean to ask like you're a subject matter expert, but if you would give me now that we've had legalized recreational marijuana acceptable here on Guam. What's it been? A couple of months now since that's been signed into law?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, and so has the price gone down drastically? Is the availability of certain marijuanas, is that more accessible to the marijuana smoking community at large?
Ever since the big, huge bust up there by Rev and Tax, that actually took a big punch out of the supply.
Really? The guy up in Barragat Heights that had all that weed stolen?
Yeah, he had a lot. That was a lot.
I recall that there was jars and jars and jars of marijuana.
But it looks like the inventory's rebounded a bit. Prices, same. They're going to continue to be the same until it's actually legal to sell the stuff,
right.
And that won't be until they get the rules and regulations figured out.
It's not going to be until September if they work as fast as I know that Vanessa wants them to work.
Well, see, the thing about it is you got to go through that. Then they got to get a lab here. The lab really has to be the first step, no matter what.
Okay, so at the end of the day, though, the supply has not changed, but the demand has increased. So yes. even though there was you could look at the price of an ounce of marijuana, and that was driven by the scarcity of it, the illegality of it, the stigma that might be attached to it.
Right.
So now that those things have been removed, now it just comes down to there's a whole bunch of more people that want to smoke marijuana, and they'll pay whatever price they are being charged because there's still a scarcity.
The fact of the matter is, the marijuana law works a lot like the gun law, in that people that wanted marijuana were smoking before the law came into effect.
Sure.
And the fact that they passed a law, I don't think you've had any uptick in the amount of people that are actually smoking. It's just now they realize that, I can go out onto my back porch, I can have a puff, and nobody can say anything to me. I can drive down the street, and if the policeman pulls me over, I can have a few little buddies in my pocket, and he can't say anything to me. It really hasn't changed anything up to this point, and it won't until they actually get shops open. Once there's an actual, competition for the dollar, then that's when things will start to make a bit of a shift.
I think competition for the discerning marijuana connoisseur and availability of different products. You know, and this is something that's come up many times in our conversation, is the fact that marijuana, being a very natural substance, is something, you know, it's like flowers. It's like making different kinds of puppies, you know. You just blend this together with that, and let's see what happens, and we'll try it out. We'll smoke it up and see if there's any additional THC, or maybe there's less THC in it. You know, maybe you've got one that's going to make you feel a little bit groovier. Maybe you've got one that's going to, you know, get you in the mood to party.
Yeah, see, the legalization actually gives marijuana users a chance to turn into marijuana snobs. So now we can go into the dispensary and we can see, okay, that's got certain percentage THC, certain percentage CBD, blah, blah, blah. But you have to have a lab in order to be able to kick out that kind of information. So that's why I say that lab is going to have to be first, whether it's for recreational, medicinal, or whatever. You've got to have a lab that tests for certain impurities and toxic substances, but also ones that determine, you know, what sort of difference in the chemicals that are in the actual marijuana, so that those that want to get a certain kind can go into the dispensary and get that.
Exactly. I mean, there's the difference between whether you want to drink whiskey or tequila or beer, right? I mean, you get different options in front of you. Before it gets to be the top of the hour, just a note here: if you didn't see it over the weekend, Daphne Shimizu has issued the 2018 delinquent tax assessment. Yes, it's thicker than all of the newspapers of the weekend combined. There's a whole bunch of people that have got a couple of I don't know, we'll call them holidays in their payments to the government of Guam for real property and some other assessments. That they're, I think this is all real property, because it links to these pins and descriptions of the parcels that are out there. You'll look through it. You'll see some familiar names as you peruse this and in my mind, that's the sole reason why you do something like this. That's the sole reason why you put this delinquent tax notice out there, is to put the fear of God into people, that, oh my God, somebody's going to see my name.
Shame
on you. Didn't pay the $37.45 in your real property taxes. But I got a question here, because as I said, there's a familiar name in here, and at least on one of these properties, I'm responsible for the taxes, and I've paid the taxes on that particular piece of parcel. So I'm not sure why it continues to show up. Is this would be one of those things that I have to take to the equalization branch over at the Department of Revenue and Taxation. We'll see what we can come up with in the next couple of hours of the program. I see Doris Mendiola is online. J.M. Bragg is there. That's nice. Joe Flores. Cousin Tommy Barcinas is there. Richard Leon is online. Luisa Borja-Muña is online as well. And on the air, 104.3. She's subbing for Daryl. Hope I didn't just ruin a surprise. Who else is playing around here? Margaret Bloss says, good morning, Raids, and Todo Tau Guam. Therese Uggan Rigel is there. Nate Horn with the kitty cat icon. That's nice. Johnny Cruz and Randy Landis and plenty more. Thanks very much for chiming in. Hey, we got to take a quick break for news from Fox and big stories from Kevin Kerrigan next.
Another round in the House for the Mueller report. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. President Trump says it's case closed, but Democrats have scheduled a series of hearings this coming week on the special counsel's report on Russian election meddling. The first one scheduled tomorrow.
House Democrats say the hearing will be focused on lessons from the Mueller report. Rhode Island Congressman David Cicilline says Monday's hearing is about justice, not politics.
This is about defending the Constitution and the rule of law. It's not just about this president, it's about future presidents and how they will regard their responsibilities in office. The American people expect us to hold this president accountable, to follow the facts wherever they lead us, and the impeachment question will be decided by the facts.
But House Republicans say Monday's hearing is nothing more than a political stunt.
Fox's Mark Meredith. On Tuesday, the House has scheduled a vote to authorize contempt cases against Attorney General William Barr and former White House counsel Donald McGahn for failing to comply with subpoenas from the Democrat-controlled House. President Trump today defending his deal with Mexico designed to stem the flow of Central American migrants toward the U.S. southern border. He says Mexico has agreed to enforce migration, and if they don't, he'll impose tariffs on their exports to the U.S. Minnesota Senate Republican Ron Johnson tells Fox News Sunday Congress still has work to do.
We need to change our laws so that we can rapidly and more accurately determine those individuals that clearly don't have a valid asylum claim and safely return them to the home country. There has to be a consequence. We can't let this go uncontrolled the way it is.
Democratic presidential hopeful Senator Amy Klobuchar says the president's threat to impose tariffs would have hurt American farmers and consumers.
I think it's wrong, and I think that we should have a consistent, strong trade policy that works for everyone in America.
Senator Klobuchar appearing on CBS's Face the Nation. This is Fox News.
Hey, it's Mom. Somebody forgot to thaw the chicken, so meet us at Chili's for 2 for $25. Oh, and congratulate your sister for making the basketball team. She's thrilled. Love you. See you at Chili's.
Enjoy 2 full meal combos for $25. An appetizer, 2 mouth-watering entrees like our crispy chicken breast, smoked barbecue quarter leg, or smoked jalapeno cheddar sausage. Served with corn on the cob and french fries. 2 bold combos for $25. A full-on meal deal available nightly for a limited time. Together, we Chili's.
Let's go for a drive.
Let's take a stroll. Let's gallivant.
Let's go cruising.
We all have different ways to describe how we get up and go in our cars. But whatever you may call it, you can do more of it when you save 6% off your fuel purchases at any Shell station when you use your eligible Bank of Guam Visa and MasterCard credit cards. So stop by any Guam or CNMI Shell station and start saving today. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
Los Angeles police officers are getting sick as homelessness rises in the city.
Rotting food, trash, used syringes, human waste. The city of Los Angeles becoming a dumpster, says the LA Times. Even the police station serving Skid Row is infested with rats.
It's totally disgusting, and we want them to clean up immediately and make sure that all the toxins are away from the officers and their families.
A detective there is being treated for typhoid fever, and 5 others show symptoms. Other officers who interact with the homeless are battling an outbreak of staph infections and hepatitis.
Fox's William Lajeunesse. Hundreds of thousands of protesters in Hong Kong have marched to show their opposition to legislation that would allow people to be extradited to mainland China to face charges. Police estimated the crowd at 240,000, but organizers said more than 1 million took part. The St. Louis Blues can take home the Stanley Cup with a win in Game 6 tonight.
The Stanley Cup will make the journey to Enterprise Center this evening. The question now is if it will stay put in St. Louis or if it will head to Boston for a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup final Wednesday. Blues head coach Craig Berube says his team is keeping level-headed with a 3-2 series lead and a chance to claim their first cup in franchise history.
We got a big job ahead of us still. That's the way I look at it. I hope our team looks at it that way.
The Bruins hopeful to even up the series and send it back to Boston. Head coach Bruce Cassidy talks shaking off that Game 5 loss.
Today's a new day, so we're going to move forward.
Game 6 of the Stanley Cup final gets underway at 8 p.m. Eastern. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
The total solar eclipse expected in northern Chile early next month is already drawing flocks of visitors eager to glimpse a rare view of the phenomenon through the region's clear skies. In a region spanning the Pacific coast and the Andes, tourism demand has already eclipsed offerings of some services, forcing hotels there to warn they have no rooms left for the July 2nd event. I'm Rich Dennison, and this is Fox News.
2-for-1 dinner time is back at Ruby Tuesday Guam. That's 2 fresh garden bars, 2 tasty entrees, and a sweet dessert to share for just $25.99. 2-for-1 dinner time for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Experience the Take Care difference. Take Care members can count on accessing a high-quality, credentialed network of on-island providers, including the convenient one-stop FHP Health Center and Urgent Care, access to an extensive off-island network of providers, and the island's largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs. You can count on Take Care to deliver comprehensive, accredited insurance coverage and quality health care when and where you need it. Take Care. Our island, your health plan. Learn more at takecareasia.com.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 7 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Governor Leon Guerrero Friday announcing that the administration is working on a plan to use local funds to pay claims to World War II survivors before Liberation Day on July 21st. The governor said local legislation is in the works to use some of the savings from the recent passage of a federal law eliminating the need for Guam to come up with matching funds to access its remaining affordable health care money. The governor said she is working with Speaker Barnes on a plan to compensate surviving Manamco before the 75th anniversary of the island's liberation from Japanese occupation in World War II. The idea is to compensate living survivors only. The immediate descendants of the survivors would still have to wait for reparations once Congressman Mike San Nicolas's proposed fix to the Loyalty Recognition Act clears Congress. However, San Nicolas told the Guam Daily Post in a statement Friday he was never consulted about the governor's plan and he has some concerns about it. While he supports the intent of Adelupe's quick payout for war claims, he thinks it may delay the remaining payouts and it might lead to double payouts for some, one from the local government and another from the U.S. Treasury. A bill to allow the two most beneficial health care proposals is likely to increase the cost to Guam taxpayers of providing health care coverage to GovGuam employees and retirees. According to testimony heard Friday evening on Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes's Bill number 94, would effectively reverse the cost savings. Introducing the bill Friday, Barnes said the intent is to ensure that our GovGuam employees continue to receive the highest quality health coverage and not the lowest cost option. However, under questioning from Health Committee Chairwoman Senator Therese Terlahi, DOA Director Edward Byrne acknowledged that the probability is that the wider the benefit, the more it's going to cost. The measure, if passed, would overturn current law limiting the GovGuam health care plan to the single most economical and beneficial plan. That law is based on a bill introduced by former Speaker Benjamin Cruz, who proposed the measure in an effort to limit the skyrocketing cost of health care for Guam taxpayers. We'll have more news after this.
Hey, welcome to this Subway ad for the new club collection. How do you want it? I'll take a book club. Absolutely.
So, last week we sunk our teeth into Subway's meaty new release, the Steak Club.
I didn't finish it yet.
Not again, Sandra. This week, it's the new Southwest Chicken Club, also by Subway. No spoilers, but there's a tasty twist.
Jalapeno cheddar bread and guacamole?
Sandra, get out. Subway, make it what you want.
Good ending.
Limited time only at participating restaurants.
When it comes to power and performance, nothing compares to Dodge. And right now at Cars Plus in Mighty, you can save thousands on many Dodge vehicles in stock during our Dodge Performance Days. Like a new 2019 Grand Caravan SE, save $4,250 or save $6,150 on a new Durango SXT. Looking for more power? Take home a new Charger SXT Plus today for only $37,689 or save over $7,000 on a new Challenger GT. Get more power and performance at Cars Plus in Mighty during Dodge Performance Days. Cars Plus. Driven by you.
10 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. Guam police have arrested 39-year-old Roque Mendiola Quintanilla on multiple burglary allegations. According to a statement from GPD spokesman Sergeant Paul Tabao, surveillance footage links a Nissan reportedly owned by Quintanilla to at least 5 burglaries. On Saturday, Tabao says police identified the pickup, attempted to stop it. However, Quintanilla did not comply and led police on a chase until he abandoned his pickup and fled on foot. Quintanilla was eventually caught, taken into custody. He is accused in the January 11th burglary at Changchin in Harmon, the May 16th burglary at Carrier Guam in Harmon, and the June 6th burglary at the LG store, also in Harmon, those among other robberies. Quintanilla is now facing charges of burglary, criminal mischief, criminal trespass, among other allegations. About 1,600 tax refund checks are being mailed out today. The checks total roughly $6 million and cover error-free returns filed on or before February 1st. The refund checks also reflect garnishments deducted from taxpayers who owe debts to the government of Guam. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with a look at weather.
Let me see what we've got today. Partly cloudy and isolated showers. Your standard Guam forecast here. Winds out of the east, 10 to 15 miles an hour. Going to be hot today. 90 degrees on the thermometer. Might feel a little bit warmer. There's lows near 79 degrees. Watch the sunset at 6:47 tonight. Sunrise tomorrow morning should be about 5:53. A lot of dry air out there, and we've got some. It's probably like lizards or something like that on the radar machine over at the National Weather Service, which is why we're getting this weird kind of image.
Yeah, what'll happen in a lot of cases, we've heard of the term virga, and I've actually sent pictures of virga. It's rain that falls from the clouds but evaporates before it hits the ground. Well, sometimes radar will pick up that virga, so whereas there may not actually be any rain falling, the radar will show some of those showers moving across. I think that's what we're seeing here. Maybe some showers up to the north. I know there are quite a few showers way down to the south, and that's almost out of our radar range. The long and short of it is we're not going to see a whole lot of rain for us over the next several days. The atmospheric situation changed quite a bit. And one thing I want us to look at on satellite, and I was talking to my weather friends and my other group, this is kind of odd.
You have friends besides me?
I do, actually. I have one or two. And I don't have to pay them. So, got some blobbage down to the south. That's the near equatorial trough, the ITCZ as they call it, but it's way down south. It's down south of 5 degrees north latitude. If you look up at the very far top of this radar picture, you will once again see these waves of energy, the frontal activity that for some reason is starting to come back down. What we call this, it's a climatological feature. It's an East Asian monsoon, also known as the Mayu front or the Bayou front, depending on whether you're in China or Japan. And it's a seasonal springtime weather system where the fronts come down and the moisture just trails along this long front. It's kind of a semi-stationary thing, and it usually lasts, 3 or 4 months, but it slowly progresses to the north. It hasn't been doing that this year. It seems to be stuck right around Japan and even getting some energy down as far as, coming towards us. So it's very weird. With this dry air intrusion, we were talking about it, it's going to make any tropical activity a little slow to happen. We're kind of seeing some of that right now. We had a little push of energy come on through. You could see the bow of clouds down to the south of us, a semicircular bow there, and some dry air behind it. That's what happened. We had a little pulse of energy come on through over the weekend and kind of mess up what the forecast was. Long and short of it is we're not going to see much rain. It's going to be pretty warm out there. All we can hope for is some clouds like you talked about, like we had yesterday, to kind of put a damper on things. And
it was nice.
Cool
I tell you what, it was warm enough that you could get grill marks, but it wasn't blazing hot.
That's right.
And I think it made it so that the air conditioner didn't have to work quite as hard. 7:14 in the morning. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
This is Ronnie. Ronnie is about to break his piggy bank.
Come on, piggy bank.
Ronnie wants to upgrade his smartphone.
And this piggy's gonna help me.
If Ronnie had signed up for GTA's handset payment option, he could have selected a new smartphone with an affordable monthly plan.
I could have what?
Exactly. Sign up for HBO at GTA and don't break the bank.
I'm sorry, piggy bank.
Terms and conditions apply. GTA, we start with you.
Gotcha. Portions of the program here brought to you by King's Restaurant, because they have that crazy 19 menu. Madcap, zany breakfast, lunch, dinner, apps, snacks, and desserts available for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Tamuning and Harmon, always open, always local. That's King's. APL is shipping the future. The guys over at Micronesia Renewable Energy say there's never been a better time to go solar until now, because now you can get solar with battery panels that are attached to them, so that when the power authority takes a dump, you probably won't even notice it. Takes a dump. That's what I said. Might be a little smell associated with that. It's Jerry Roberts questioning my unique use of the English language.
Is that what that was?
Yes, it was. And then there's Cars Plus. And maybe your dream car when you were a little boy was a Dodge Charger. Well, they've got Chargers now for sale. You're going to love this. Financing as low as 1.99% APR. Write them with any bank you want to talk to. 5 years, 60,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Performance day is going on now at Cars Plus in Mighty.
The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. Morning talk that matters.
Boy, it's a problem with Facebook this morning. Unable to hit that feed right now. I'm looking at my gizmo, and it's telling me that it's having a hard time locking in on Facebook. Crazy thing is, all of the other feeds seem to be working. Every once in a while, that'll happen with Facebook. And so what you do in that case is either turn on the actual radio or go to YouTube Live. YouTube Live and look for Ray Gibson Show. Just search for that, and it'll bring you into that. 7:16 in the morning, 888-825-5888-TALK. Is the telephone number around here. And Jerry Roberts is back in the studio. His training is, I guess, over at the place he was doing some training at, and now can rejoin us for the morning show in a live position. Won't that be fun? Anyway, so that's coming up, but let's take a look at how the markets ended up on their Friday, our Saturday morning. Looked good for the S&P 500 in the green by 29 points, 2,873. NASDAQ at 7742. That's up by 126 points. Dow Jones Industrial Average poised to go right over 26,000 again, with an increase of 263 points to close at 25,983. Now, what are the numbers from? And I'm curious to see what the aftermarket numbers are going to be looking at now that depending on how you interpret it. But it looks like the Mexicans blinked on the tariff deals and gave in to all of Trump's demands on the humanitarian crisis at the southern borders of the United States of America, and they're going to be calling out their guard to help secure the border between Mexico and the United States, and people that are going to be applying for asylum will be sleeping in Mexico as opposed to crossing the border, making the application for asylum, and basically disappearing into the country. So, like I said, it depends on how you look at. If you love Trump, then you're like, whoa, that's 2020, dude. That just put a lock on the election. If you hate Trump, you're going to say that, oh yeah, well, you know what, that was all stuff that the Mexicans had already agreed to, and the tariffs, the threat of the tariff didn't necessarily put them over the barrel. Yeah, okay, tomato, potato, potato. It's 7:18 in the morning, so we'll take a look at some of the other numbers that I like to look at. West Texas crude now trading at $53.99. We've got an increase, an uptick for tapas, up by $1.58 for a barrel of tapas crude, and unfortunately that could be an issue. So keep an eye on that. I don't know. It's one of those things. They just dropped the price of gas to like $4.20, right? Is that's where it's at? $3.93
in Saipan, by the way.
I said $4.20. Slow, dude. Monday, come on. What did you say it was up in Saipan?
$3.93.
Right. You know why? No, still state of emergency. They have not yet got out from under, as I understand it, the state of emergency that was declared after the typhoon they had.
Why can't we do that?
Because we didn't have a typhoon.
No,
we didn't know.
Just declare a state of emergency.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. The anti-price gouging thing, right? So they were able to say we're going to freeze the prices where they are for right now, and so until somebody comes out and says that crisis is over, the emergency is passed. I think they're going to see those prices as low as they are. Really? And can you imagine what will happen? What the gas companies are going to do the second the governor says that we're taking the prices back? We're going to release our control over the prices.
I can only imagine.
It's going. Oh. Will it be like a rocket taking off? Will it be like firing off a laser bolt at something?
So that means if we ever have another typhoon here that causes damage, that never happens.
I'd have to look at the
prices
law.
will.
Well, they'd have to say the same. The idea is, if the price of a gallon of gas, the price of a six-pack of beer, the price of ice and water remain the same. Batteries and things like that to prevent people from gouging you on the prices.
Gotcha.
So, but that usually only lasts for a week, 2 weeks, something like that. It's been months for those guys up in Saipan, and their economy isn't doing all that much better. As a result of that storm, the governor went to a 72-hour work week up there. You know why? Apparently they don't have any police stations to close. They didn't have any public swimming pools that were already closed that they could close, right? They didn't. They're unable, and maybe the state of talk radio up there prevents them from being able to go and wring their hands and say, "Oh, woe is us! There'll be payless paydays." Yada yada yada. 72-hour work week will survive it.
I'd like to suggest to the governor and her office that in the case of another storm approaching us, like we did last year, that she have some sort of pre-emergency declaration that she can impose that would prevent price gouging in advance of a storm, which is exactly what took place here last time.
I want to say it's automatic. Well, and if they did, maybe people didn't get reported. I'd have to look it up. Somebody send me the chapter and verse on that. But I want to say it's automatic at like condition 2. The prices are where they are, and they're set until an all clear is declared.
Well, by condition 2, you're pretty much already in the middle of a storm by then. It needs to be done at core 3, something
I don't know
something
about
a little bit further out.
Too many close calls for something like that. I mean, let businesses do what businesses do.
Well, if we don't, they're going to still charge $12-15 for a case of water like they were last time.
7:21 in the morning. Don't shop there anymore. 7:21 in the morning, and about time for Jerry Roberts to come in with this morning's Extra Point, brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank. 2millionmiles.com on the World Wide Web. Jerry.
Congratulations on your 40th. I saw it on Facebook.
Closing in on now entering my 5th decade. Can I say that now? Because it sounds bigger than 40, right?
Sounds bigger than 40.
Now in broadcasting on Guam in his 5th decade. 2 days.
I spent a couple of days in Saipan and would love to say that everything went just like clockwork. It didn't. There's a little story to tell about my 48 hours just to the north of us, and that's next on the Extra Point.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
Travel the world and then some with the 2 million United Mile sweepstakes from First Hawaiian Bank. Enter and you could win the grand prize of 1 million miles or be one of 6 other lucky winners. The world is big. Our prize is bigger. Enter at fhb.com/2 million miles. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Sweepstake starts on May 1st and ends June 30th, 2019. Open to legal residents of Guam and CNMI. Ages 18 years or older. Visit 2millionmiles.com for official rules. First Hawaiian Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
I put a lot of hours into finishing a new course. The client in Saipan was preparing for my arrival, and the team was excited. So was I. It would be the first group to experience this training, and I wanted it to be a huge success. I got to the airport for the 7:30 flight. I'd arrive about 8, grab a car, and get to the client to launch the course at 9. It was all set up. And then the announcement came that the Saipan flight was delayed because the plane was late to get to Guam and would need cleaning and to take on supplies. It was over 45 minutes later when we took off. Landing, I hustled to get my bag. I could still get there by 9:20. No, the flight was full and my bag came off almost last. When I got to the car rental, there were 5 people ahead of me. It was well after 10 before I was on my way. When I arrived at the client's location, I was starting close to 2 hours late. They were cool with it, and I was relaxed as a result of that. Then we discovered that I couldn't get the video from my laptop to their monitor, like I did the last time I was there. As it turned out, the adapter I'd used the time before belonged to one of the employees, and he'd taken it home. He called to have it delivered, and we started the course while waiting for it. Late plane, late luggage, late car rental, no video connection. Just about everything that could have gone wrong to that point had gone wrong. Will the course be the same? The answer to that was thankfully no. The group was great, and they took to the material with high energy and enthusiasm. The session flowed exactly as I hoped it would. We ended late, but nobody complained. They would have gladly stayed longer if I would have asked them to. I then did one-on-one coaching sessions and went to check into the hotel. I was ready to relax. Only one problem. I couldn't find it. I drove and no hotel. Went to a gas station, then grocery stores, asked if anyone knew where this hotel was. Nobody had even heard of it. I called their number and the call didn't go through. Tried again a few minutes later and they answered, giving directions. Not great directions, and there was no sign anywhere. But finally I located the place and got into the room. Well, the lamp at the desk didn't work. And I went to the bathroom, but the toilet didn't fill. And one of those push-button things, and didn't fill after I used. I had to lift the lid on the thing, and then it would fill up. I went to turn the internet on, the computer. Internet wasn't on. So I called downstairs, and I asked but the thing was, I went to call downstairs. The phone didn't work. And then I used my phone to call down, and she says, okay, I'll come up in a while. I knew that could be anywhere from 5 minutes to a half an hour. So I walked downstairs, went to their bakery, and I got a few things there, and the bakery was outstanding, just outstanding. So that's a win. I get back up to the room, knock on the door, the girl comes in, and she walks in and the internet goes on almost as soon as she walks in the room. It was one of those experiences, right? Like just her aura turned the thing on. So that was working. So I'm relaxing and I'm eating, and then I decided to go in and take a shower. And they had one of these rainfall shower heads, and the water was hot. And I was in there for an hour, no exaggeration. And I would have pulled the bed into that shower if I could have. I crawled into the bed, and the bed was wonderful. I slept like a baby. Day 2 began with more of the bakery, and everything went precisely as I planned for the second day. Hallelujah. Another long shower, good sleep, and the flight home was perfect. So many things had gone wrong, but the client was great. They told me the course was great. The hotel had issues, but with that shower and the bed and the bakery, I'll be back. Yeah, a lot went wrong, but it all ended up very right. That's the extra point. Get out there and make something good happen today for 93.3.
Oh, no, you can do that because there was definitely a sob story going on in there. Yeah. You get the Saipan and get
93.3.
The airplane
wiping my tears.
I had to walk from the airplane to the airport because they don't have jetways there.
Don't have any. Oh, I like that part of it.
Yep, being outside.
Yeah, being outside.
Not so bad.
I
That's
love
not
that.
so bad.
And Saipan, it's great.
What hotel was this that you couldn't find?
I don't think I'm at liberty to say that because they're owned by folks down here.
Oh.
Anyway, for 93.3, the Ray Gibson Show, Guahan Insurance Services, and First Hawaiian Bank. I'm not giving names. I'm Jerry Roberts.
I got you.
No, but the other thing is.
Okay.
They said they're almost finished building 65 new units. And only 20 units in this thing, real small. They're building 65 new units to be finished over the summer, and the girl said she thinks this one might have a sign on it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
All right, good. 728.
But if you want to know where the hotel is, give me a call offline or something like that.
Apparently, you've got to go find it. It's one of those things where as soon as you get there, it's down the street and around the corner and through the
Don't they have a phone number?
Hills and vales and all of that.
Don't they have a phone number?
They did.
Can't you?
What was it next to?
Yeah, what was it? Yeah. Was it near the ocean? Was it deep in the hills?
There's a bakery in front of it. It's right on Beach Road or whatever. There's a bakery on it.
Anyway, it's all. Listen, it's always an adventure. You get up to Saipan, and it doesn't matter. Things will always work out.
They do.
There's something magical about Saipan. Last time I was there for any length of time, I was there for a marathon, and so I get up there and do the marathon, and I go to the Fiesta Hotel. And I said, okay, I'm here to get my room. And they said, we're crazy booked here. So if you don't mind, because I was kind of coming in on not quite non-rev, but certainly not full fare. Yeah. And they said, well, you know what, go to where the Shirley's is, which is where the sister hotel was, and there's a room waiting for you there. So I get to the Shirley's, and I go to the receptionist, and they said, yeah, we've got a room for you. And I said, okay, do I go up the stairs? And she said, no. Those are for full rev customers upstairs. So yours is you know where the bathroom is over at? There is in between the Shirley's. And there's there's a little bar in the back of that building. In between there is this one last for emergency use only rooms. And it had an air conditioner, had a sliding glass door. And I thought, it's got a sliding glass door. Maybe there's a balcony out there. And it goes into where the compartments are for the rest of the air conditioners for the rest of the building. So didn't spend a whole lot of time out there enjoying that balcony and the fresh air. But it wasn't a bad room. And, the blessing is I wanted to eat at Shirley's for breakfast there anyway, and it's right around the corner. And I could still take advantage of the amenities over at the Fiesta, which is, 4-minute walk from there. So it wasn't that big of a deal. Like I said, Saipan is an adventure. You know what I like to do around this time of day where it's possible is remind everybody about some of the cool things that are happening that are going to be coming up. I had on the phone, it was all charged and ready to go, a link. There it is. The Department of Labor's got a free clinic that's going to be taking place this week. I want to say it is the Labor Clinic for Businesses, the Fair Chances Hiring Process Act. There was a once upon a time where you take a look at somebody and they look good, and then they bring in their court clearance and they're machete wielders, and you go, well, I don't want to hire this guy. But they've come out with the Fair Chances Hiring Process, which stipulates where and when and how you might be able to not hire somebody.
Rescind your offer.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. And I forget what it is, and that's why they're having clinics on it. Attendees will learn how to navigate through the Fair Chances Hiring Process, which applicants will not be required to disclose or any information regarding their criminal history until the time that a conditional offer of employment has been extended. Then they can come forward. But you've already extended them the offer, and they're going to say, oh, you're not hiring me because I'm a machete wielder. Anyway, attendees will also learn and understand best practices, general rules, plus FCHPA tools used to help assist employers when deciding to recruit or fill their staffing needs. So answer to the question is, if you don't want to hire guys that might have criminal records, either don't have openings or only hire family, because every time I've thought about that,
it's a crazy law.
I always thought it was a kind of a minefield. Mike?
Yeah, don't miss out on the machete dude, though, because our fence is looking pretty ornery out there.
Is it?
Could use some clearing.
On a couple of days here, the wide area workflow. Do you have a federal contract and need to get paid? Guam PTAC will explain federal invoicing procedures using the WAWF system. All right, that's PTAC, and you can get a hold of those guys at 735-2596. The Fair Chances Hiring Process, that's all at the Department of Labor, and if you want information on that, find Director Cho, and she'll be able to help you out. Her real name is Hannah. Around 300 vacancies in education. GDOA is going to be having a job fair 10 to 2 day after tomorrow at Ukadu High School. And if you want, if you've got any skills, they might actually do some on-the-spot interviewing while they're doing that. So if you're looking for employment, those are the places to go. And if you're very, very lucky, the people that hire you will hire Jerry to do some training.
Oh, my goodness.
Did you like that? Just wrap in that plug.
You are so smooth.
7:33 in the morning. It's 40 years in radio, into my fifth decade.
And it's working.
Can I just lord that over everybody now?
Yes, you can.
I suppose so. 7:33. It's time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority is cracking down on illegal dumping activities taking place around its housing properties. GURA Executive Director Ray Tapazna says over the last few months, GURA has held town hall meetings in Agate, Maurizo, Inarajan, Talafofo, and Jonia to discuss illegal dumping in those villages. At a GURA board meeting last week, Tapazna told board members that some tenants are suspected to be involved in illegal dumping. Tapazna said, we made it very clear during the town hall meetings that if you're caught dumping illegally, it could jeopardize your ability to remain in public housing. GURA has already received a written warning from the Guam Environmental Protection Agency for illegal dumping activities in a ravine next to a GURA housing area in Agate. 24-year-old Tyler Francis Regis has been arrested on allegations of fraudulent use of a credit ATM card. Regis is accused of using the Bank Pacific ATM card to withdraw funds from the account of a man who died in January of last year. Bank officials discovered discrepancies with the account. They filed a complaint with the Guam Police Department and released a picture of Regis taken by a camera at an ATM when he made a withdrawal using the dead man's ATM card. His picture was sent to the media and circulated on social media as well. On Saturday, Regis self-surrendered to Guam police at the Agana precinct. He was booked and confined, and the case has been forwarded to the AG for prosecution. The official grand opening of the Jollibee restaurant in Dedido was held Saturday, and Dennis Flores, Jollibee president, announced that the company plans on opening 4 more Jollibees on island within the next 5 years. Flores said Jollibee is still scouting locations for the new stores. He said it's part of an aggressive expansion plan that includes new stores in Italy, Canada, England, and in Malaysia. The recently opened Guam restaurant, said Flores, is the second highest grossing restaurant amongst Jollibee's 1,400 restaurants worldwide. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Okay, it's 7:35. That's iConnect time. Give them a ring, would you? 888-8888. Just pick up the phone and press 8 until somebody answers the phone. Somebody eventually will, and they'll be happy to tell you about all kinds of cool things that you can do and money you can save on your internet and mobile plans.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Hit reset with Wendy's new made-to-crave menu featuring the peppercorn mushroom melt. It's got savory mushrooms and the barbecue cheeseburger with that sweet and smoky barbecue sauce. And then, of course, they've got the Sauce'em bacon cheeseburger that's got bacon on it for days. I had one of these, and it was amazing. The bacon fell out of the sandwich. You know, it's like you got mustard, mayonnaise, whatever. It was just dripping out of the thing. My sandwich was dripping with bacon, if you can imagine that. It's your world, and Wendy's just rocked to try the new hamburgers on the made-to-crave menu today.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Rita Tidegui of Manila, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Ingatan ang iyong tahanan. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Traffic Gizmo time here at 93.3 The Point as I take a look at things. A little bit busier than it was an hour ago, because it's drive time on Guam. And there's lots of people hitting the roads. Most of the problems that I'm looking at right now seem to be associated with just some intersection traffic, and that's going to slow you down just kind of naturally. A reminder, the intersection in front of us here, in front of iConnect, is down right now. It's red, but it doesn't never go green. Is the thing. So just be on the lookout for that. Southbound traffic, Marine Corps Drive, it will busy up by the time you get down to Big Navy in Sumai. Don't see too much happening in the Tutuhan area, and folks surrounding the Navy Hospital. Looks like that's going to start working here in just a little bit. So if you need to traverse through that area, you might want to build in an extra couple of minutes. That's right now traffic at 7:38 on The Point.
2-for-1 dinner time is back at Ruby Tuesday Guam. That's 2 fresh garden bars, 2 tasty entrees, and a sweet dessert to share for just $25.99. 2-for-1 dinner time for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
Let's see now. Fast, easy, affordable. That's the best way to describe my home loan at Bank Pacific. Fast, because we give quick decisions. Easy, because we've cut back on the paperwork. Affordable, because today's home loan rates are still so low. So see us today to refinance or consolidate, or to buy or build your new home and save yourself some money.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Viva Bank Pacific.
For those of you that normally watch me on Facebook Live, Facebook reporting outages around the world right now, and I was just taking a look at their outage detection scheme, and they've got some websites where you can go to, and yeah, they are having some issues, and that is preventing us from getting on Facebook Live. We were there earlier, but not there now. If you still want to play, if you still want to, it's a similar experience. Go to YouTube Live. We streamed it there as well. So James Howard's already online. He says that Docomo down up in the north, but if I'm streaming to YouTube, why would an outage here with Docomo cause an issue with Facebook but not YouTube? So the streams are working. Streams are working. We might have a couple of issues. I know that there might be some internet issues because our phone system is internet based and it is down right now. So that means that you cannot call me and complain about stuff. You'll have to put up with me complaining on my own. That's okay. That's all right. I'm professional here. And I'm fully capable of carrying on the rants on my own. 20 minutes away from 8 o'clock in the morning. 888-825-5888-TALK is the phone number. It might work, so you might want to keep on trying. Otherwise, when you go to YouTube Live, there is a way for you to interact with me. There's just the same way as on Facebook. So there's a thing there that says say something. So that's where you would type in something. So if you're one of those that's kind of jonesing because you're missing the television experience, that's the way to do that. Yep, problems with internet, Facebook, but not here on YouTube. Crazy thing, home phone not working because some of you might be on those digital systems as well. We'll see what we can find out from those guys. But in the meantime, we'll just deal with the outage the way we normally would deal with it, and that's just keep going, keep yakking. Keep the meters going this way. That's the plan. That's the way it works. So, there were some items I was riffing about in the last hour of the program about Consolidated Commission on utilities and the idea that at least one commissioner, Francis Santos, has talked to the guys over at the chief financial officers at GWA and GPA and said, put together a number. What are the utilities worth? I get the sense that he is upset with the tenor of a conversation that has been started, and I'm not the only one that started it. He talks about guys yakking about this at the radio stations. Yeah, the experts at the radio station, whatever. And so I can sort of I understand his anxiety about that. Yeah, because I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy. I live here on Guam. And to the degree that I'm satisfied with the service I get at GWA and at GPA, is it possible that there might be out there somebody that can do it better? So my buddy Dave was telling me that there was the federal government put together an A76 deal years ago, and that would guide the conversation about privatization. And basically the way the A76 works is if the industry could perform the function at 10% or 10% or greater of a percentage of efficiency than the government could, then they would start figuring out how to sell it out. So the question that I have, is it possible that there is somebody out there that could operate the Guam Power Authority with 10% more efficiency as the dollars come in? And you take a look at the spend, and I don't know how do you want to characterize that kind of productivity? You know, is a number of kilowatt hours that we create that are billed. Is that how you want to do it? Do we want to be able to say that, Government of Guam and GPA does power like this, and these are the costs? If we have somebody come out here and say that the kilowatt hour charge could actually be lower by 10%, what's that going to be? 2.9 cents? 3 cents? If somebody could come out there and give us a 3-cent break on a kilowatt hour, it might be a target for privatization. I'm sure there's other factors, right? But that to me is kind of interesting. So yeah, put the numbers together, and then maybe we'll continue to have that serious conversation. And again, it had to do with the CCU, and I know that there's a lot of people out there that are still ticked off. Bob Klitsky among them, the regulators, the tall-tale regulators. That are still ticked off about the idea that number one, they gave a raise. They didn't look at an evaluation, didn't do an evaluation. They just said, JB and Miguel are nice guys. They got lots of headaches, and we haven't given them a kiss in a long time, so let's give them a kiss. And from thin air, produce a couple of different scenarios, one for JB, one for Mike. From thin air, we'll do this for JB, and then we'll do this with Miguel. We'll bring him up to here, and then we'll bonus him on the other side. So it'll feel like the same. It'll feel like they've got parity there. As opposed to, well, I don't know, how do you give raises in your shop? How do you determine those kinds of things? At any rate, it looked funny, and then come to find out they did it illegally, and then there was the rescinding of the pay raises. It just seemed like there was a whole lot going on there, and a lot of people that were very, very upset about that, and said we need to do away with the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. Take great care when you think about that. There does need to be some kinds of boards. There needs to be some kind of adult supervision, if you will, in those areas. And that's what the CCU is supposed to be doing. That's supposed to be the function of it, right? Keep these guys in check and make sure that the prices at the end of the day are reasonable for you and I, for power and for water. And you and I can agree and disagree all day long whether or not they're hitting that goal, whether it is any more or less affordable because there's a CCU in front of the utilities. And so my thinking is, if you want to do something about it, let's get rid of the need to have a CCU and sell out the utilities. And sure enough, here it comes. Here comes the blowback. It's the people's water. We can't sell that. In fact, it's not even ours. It's given to us by God in the heavens. And it comes down and we catch it and it goes in the ground and it goes in the aquifer and we pump it out there, or it's flowing in our rivers, the same rivers that our people from before the Spaniards came used to walk and shrimp and do all of that stuff. It provided them life and sustenance. And now Ray Gibson wants to sell it? How dare he? Can you see it already? It's gonna happen. You know it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of time. Anyway, so that's probably where the conversation is going to end up going. So my friend Dave and I, touching base on the conversation on the Facebooks and in this case it's the WhatsApp, and interesting conversations past that. What about things like the retirement, right? Guam Power Authority and the employees of the Guam Power Authority, they're in the Government of Guam retirement program, right? Well, at some point, you bring in an invisible hand, you bring in a third-party guy, and they would be responsible for how we're going to do retirement. And it might be a whole different program, might be one that's cheaper than the experience that the taxpayers have now. Or maybe a different way to do health insurance if a private company was behind that conversation, right? So we might have some immediate savings as ratepayers. There might already be some immediate savings that get built into it. And then there's the idea of this capitalization of new and improved assets, things like that, access to capital. But he says, to be honest, 15 years down the road, the private industry probably screw things up. And in that case, I said, well, let's build in a reversionary clause so that if they're not able to provide that 10% or greater efficiency number to ratepayers, then it comes back and can become a utility for the government of Guam, or we are then able to resell the asset to somebody else. Right, we just take the license back and say no harm, no foul. Go find Mike's electric company and start wheeling and dealing with him. Then he brought up the receivership. Said the trash receivership was a prime example of greed. $1.5 million a year or more. And the question that I asked him was, if they were so greedy, if we were getting ripped off so bad by the receiver. Now that the receiver is, for all intents and purposes, gone, how come my GSWA bill is still up there? How come I still got to pay $30? If these guys were taking us for a ride all these years and all of a sudden they're gone, should it not be a situation where where my trash bill ought to be going down? Or maybe they could pick it up more. I don't know. Do whatever it is that you got to do. I'm just saying it makes sense to me if that was the way things were working, that maybe we'd see some kind of a break there. But not. To which he responded, "Good question," and I feel good about that because whenever I'm in a position where I can have this guy, expert, right, scratch his head and go, you got a point there, Gib. That kind of makes me feel good. So that's where we are. Information trickling in. What do we got? Home phone not working. Cable down, too. The modem is blank on the phone. So, yeah, it looks like at least one of the carriers are having some kind of a problem here with the cables, with the internet service. And I'm telling you, it's freaking me out. So now that makes sense. That because my phone system is a collection of different services, up to and including that one there. They're the primary carrier. So if they're down, that's why you're not hearing callers in the. We're going to talk with Ray Tapajna from over at Gora, and Mike Still. The questions about who's doing all the dumping of trash out there on these Gora homes and Gora properties. And so they're doing town halls trying to get out there and catch people and tell them, stop doing that. What's the matter with you? Oh, no, by the way, For those of you that like the occasional toke of marijuana, you'll need to go to your friend's non-Section 8 house and do actually non-Gora house and do it there. But so the question that I had on that one, and I'll ask Ray, is I get it. If you're staying at one of the Gora properties, they tell you you're not supposed to smoke marijuana in the house. We got a federal ticket, and if we have a federal ticket, it means that you've got a federal ticket. And until the feds do something about the marijuana smoking at all, then you cannot smoke in your Gora house. So what about people, Ray Topasna? I know you're out there somewhere. What about people that live not necessarily in Gora houses, but Section 8 subsidized homes? So if I go to Gora and Gora's giving me money for my rent, does that mean that the federal dollars that those Gora that Gora is providing to my landlord comes with a stipulation that I can't smoke, even though it's not a Gora house? It's still being paid for. The place is still getting paid for by Gora. Does that mean that I can't smoke in that place, in that apartment?
Bigger question is, how will they know?
They know.
No,
They'll know.
You can't
It'll
even
be like Google, dude.
You can't even get health inspectors to do the restaurants here, so there's no way that housing people are going to go and inspect every single.
No, they don't need to. They got secret tunnels.
Yeah.
They got secret tunnels underneath those houses, and they've got people that listen.
It's drones.
24. Did you hear that story?
Spy drones.
Did you hear the story? The Amazon is going to start delivering via drones.
Yeah.
5-pound
they already
packages
were.
and under. I don't know. I know that they've been talking about it for a long time, but I don't know when they were eventually going to get started doing it. So the question is, when will they start doing that here? Do we get any of that drone service here on Guam? So, dude, I mean, if I knew that Amazon was flying drones that had goodies in them, I'd be shooting those suckers down, right? Right, and you wouldn't even need to really shoot them down. I mean, there might be a way that you could send up enough, like a concentrated signal of radio jamming frequencies, right?
You know, I heard that story over the weekend too, and I was wondering how exactly is that going to work? Does the drone come to your front door and knock on the door? You open the door, and there's this suspended flying object in front of the door, and
just hold your
how
hands
does that
out.
work?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. The world that these people have imagined for us and the ways that we'll be receiving those goods and services down the road, I have no idea how that's going to play out. What if you live in an apartment building like Mike does?
Right.
Will it fly up to Mike's door?
Excuse me, we open the door, it's the drone.
Yeah, here's the funny thing is you can train certain birds of prey to take the drones out. And they're carrying some pretty expensive stuff with them, so it would be worth the investment to get a bird or two. I'm just saying, because, you know.
Oh, you've overthought this already.
I'm way up ahead of
Birds
them,
of prey, yes.
2 birds of prey could easily net you several thousands of dollars and
It'll
stuff
be the
every
falcons.
day.
We'll all be like those Arab Sheikh guys and train falcons to go and catch Amazon drones.
And think about it. It's not like walking up on someone's porch and stealing their bag where they get camera shots of you and stuff. No, all they saw was a bird attack the drone, get the package, and fly away somewhere.
What?
Never to be seen again.
We would be the perfect place for Amazon to roll this out because we don't have any birds. The snakes ate them all.
Right, and they can't really go far either.
So there we go. There we go. Solving all the Guam's problems and the world's problems. Now 754, and a bill that I'm genuinely curious about here, which has been introduced by neighbor Sabina Flores Perez over at the 35th Guam Legislature, be it enacted by the people of Guam that the legislature finds that releasing lighter-than-air balloons into the atmosphere constitutes littering and poses a danger and nuisance to the environment, particularly to wildlife and marine animals. As such, the legislature hereby restricts the outdoor release of balloons inflated with lighter-than-air gases, with exemptions provided for scientific and/or meteorological purposes. And then they go and in the Guam Code annotated and add these words. It is unlawful for any person to willfully or negligently release, organize the release, or cause to be released one or more balloons inflated with a gas that is lighter than air, except for balloons released by a person on behalf of a governmental agency or pursuant to a governmental contract for scientific or meteorological purposes.
Yeah, so what is the fine going to be, and who's going to go give the ticket to the little 5-year-old kid that accidentally lets go of their balloon?
Is this a solution out looking for a problem? It's like the plastic straw ban. Have we solved all of the other problems? Is it possible? Have we solved all of the other problems that are facing the people of Guam? Machete-wielding guys in Manilao. And you're going, yeah, but the media blew that out of proportion because there were only 2. But wait a second, isn't there other information now that those guys provided themselves that says they weren't alone, that there were more than just the 2 that are being held on, what is it, $50,000 worth of a cash bond? Huh? Did we solve all of those problems yet? Has every piece of trash been picked up island-wide? Have we collected all of the meth heads and gotten them out from under their life-threatening and consuming addictions? Did we get to all of that? Because if we did, then, yeah, I can see where we would entertain a measure to ban the release of helium-filled balloons on Guam. And I know what you're going to say. Don't you love the sea turtles, Ray? Yes, I do. They're tasty and delicious. Aren't you concerned about what's happening out in the ocean? Yes, of course I am. But you know what? We've got other important things to worry about besides this. I get it. You know, it's one of those. You know, wow. I just got to get this in before one of the other guys or one of the other girls gets this piece of legislation in there. And I can see everybody going to be standing around patting themselves on the back and what great stewards of the environment they are, while the rest of us need to lock up our homes and get security cameras and alarm systems. Hey, don't worry. At least there's not going to be anybody out there releasing the hot air balloons out into the environment. I'm just wondering about what certain priorities are around here. Now, there are other interesting things that are happening over at the legislature, and I will say, at least one guy over at the legislature has got his head screwed on, right? Jim Moylan out there, and we've already gone over this. Boys together, bowling league together, and all of that. So my bias for him is obvious, but I'd like to say it's earned. Anyway, he's talking about making some changes relative to pretrial releases for those charged with crimes associated with criminal sexual conduct, robbery, kidnapping, and distribution or possession of controlled substances, and mandated electronic devices for bail conditions of certain crimes. Now, I'm not going to read you the whole thing. I'm just going to say that there's at least one guy over the legislature that sits at the same side of the table as you and I, and is concerned, rightfully concerned, about the rapidly deteriorating conditions that the good, hardworking, and generally non-criminal elements of this community have to live with anymore. And you're going, yeah, well, it was an isolated incident. We don't have machete-wielding dudes all the time, do we? Yeah, we do. Over the weekend, magistrate report. On or about June 5, GPD officers responded to a complaint at Inarahan Middle School. Arrival at that location, Officer Balahaja met with Ryan Q. Dumanal, who is the victim, one of 2. Who reported that earlier, same day, he saw a male individual identified as Setik Akidro punch and kick his co-worker identified as Rizan Reason. Mr. Dumanal explained that the defendant then started chasing him, wait for it, with a machete, saying, "What, you tough?" Mr. Dumanal stated that he ran towards the main office and told the defendant that he will call the police. Officer Balahaja met with Ms. Rizan, who reported the defendant tried to kick her, but she blocked the kick. She stated the defendant then saw Mr. Dumanal, at which time he took out a machete and ran toward Mr. Dumanal. Ms. Rizan also reported that on the 4th, at about 4 o'clock in the morning, while sleeping at the defendant's residence in Tamuning, mistake number 1, babe. The defendant accused her of cheating on him and slapped and elbowed her face. So this is a case, and I don't know whether this guy Cedric is worker. It works there, but it sounds like there was a domestic going on between Setik Akidro and this Rizan Reason that was played out at a school with a machete. Ponder that. Did I overblow that one? Did I exaggerate that? I'll try harder next time. It's 8 o'clock. Here's Fox News.
Fighting the press, I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. President Trump today pushing back on Twitter to reports that most of the border enforcement issues in an agreement with Mexico were agreed to by the Mexican government months ago. The president tweeting nothing was official until Friday. The president also tweeting a threat that he could still impose tariffs on imports from Mexico if the country doesn't abide by the new pact.
The New York Times is reporting that officials from the United States and Mexico met back in March, agreeing then to terms which included Mexicans sending the National Guard to protect the border. But that report getting heavy pushback from the president, who tweeted this morning, "We've been trying to get some of those border actions for a long time, as have other administrations, but not able to get them or get them in full until our signed agreement with Mexico."
Fox's David Spont. Democratic investigations into President Trump, his administration, and campaign moving forward this week, beginning with a House Judiciary Committee hearing, which concludes an appearance by John Dean, former White House counsel to President Richard Nixon. The hearings linked to the special counsel's report on Russian election meddling come as a growing number of Democrats are calling for the president's impeachment.
Many House Republicans see Monday's hearing as nothing more than a waste of time. Congressman Mark Meadows tweeting out, quote, "We have a host of things we could be doing to help families across America, but thank goodness the Democrats are calling Watergate star John Dean to testify."
Fox's Mark Meredith. The U.S. trade dispute with China continues.
Well, if I'm China, I'm worried about the progress we're making with Mexico, the passage of the USMCA. Getting that partnership together here in North America allows the president to take the same sort of strategy to China.
Florida GOP Senator Tom Tillis on Fox News Sunday. President Trump set to meet with China's leader later this month during the G20 summit in Japan. This is Fox News.
We know too well the inconvenience of not having power after a storm. You worry about the food in the freezer going bad. Nights get hot. It's hard finding comfort when going to sleep. These are realities. But with solar and battery storage from Micronesia Renewable Energy, these realities can be a thing of the past. The solar works during the day and the batteries power your home at night. Call 632-2613 to see how solar plus battery storage can make life a little more convenient. MRE, the smarter choice.
Your home is one of the most important investments you'll make in your life. At Nanbo Insurance, you can rest easy knowing that you're covered with reliable and affordable homeowners insurance. Nanbo makes it easy to protect what matters the most so you can enjoy the moments that matter the most. With Nanbo, you can also save big when you bundle up and insure your car, home, motorcycle, or business. Enjoy great savings up to 50%. Visit nanbo.com or call 477-9754 for more details.
At least one person is dead, several others injured after a crane collapse in Dallas during severe storms. Fire officials say the crane fell into a downtown apartment building and parking garage this afternoon. Authorities are treating the deaths of former state senators from Arkansas and Oklahoma as homicides.
Linda Collins Smith was found dead Tuesday. While the cause of death is still under investigation, her former press secretary told reporters she had been shot. It also took a few days for investigators to confirm the death. Property records indicate the home was owned by Collins Smith and her former husband, a retired circuit judge. The two divorced last October and were said to be in court dividing up properties. Meanwhile, in Oklahoma, police in Norman say they found former state senator Jonathan Nichols dead inside his home from a gunshot wound. Nichols served as a state senator for more than a decade. Both shootings are still under investigation.
Fox's Jeff Paul. A fix-up for one of America's great roadways.
It winds from Chicago to L.A. more than 2,000 miles along the way is how the song goes. Route 66, the Mother Road, created in 1926, has been celebrated in music and its own TV series with that theme. Many upgrades have been made along the highway in its nearly 100-year existence. The feds even created a program to help preserve the historic highway. Now, officials in Albuquerque, New Mexico want to get on board with a $2.3 million plan to add sidewalks, bike lanes, and landscaping. Legislation meant to designate 66 as a National Historic Trail is stuck in Congress. Karen McHugh, Fox News.
A Mega Millions lottery ticket worth $536 million were sold at a San Diego, California liquor store. Once the winner of Friday's drawing comes forward, they'll have to decide whether to take the jackpot in 30 installments or the lump sum of just over $345 million. I'm Rich Dennison, and this is Fox News.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 Data2Go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is data to go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
2-for-1 dinner time is back at Ruby Tuesday Guam. That's 2 fresh garden bars, 2 tasty entrees, and a sweet dessert to share for just $25.99. 2-for-1 dinner time for limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Beneventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumamo. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
The sky's the limit with Bank Pacific's secure MyCloud banking. You can access your account 24/7 with your smartphone, your computer, your iPad, or any other tablet. You can pay bills, set up alerts, check your balances, wire transfer money. It's never been easier. Enroll online or come on in and see one of our friendly staff. Digital Life, Digital Solutions. Bank Pacific.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Viva Bank Pacific.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 8 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Governor Lou Leon Guerrero Friday announcing that the administration is working on a plan to use local funds to pay claims to World War II survivors before Liberation Day on July 21st. The governor said local legislation is in the works to use some of the savings from the recent passage of a federal law eliminating the need for Guam to come up with matching funds to access its Medicare, its remaining Medicare funds from the Affordable Health Care Act. The governor said she is working with Speaker Barnes on a plan to compensate surviving Manamco before the 75th anniversary of the island's liberation from Japanese occupation. The idea is to compensate living survivors only. The immediate descendants of survivors would still have to wait for the reparations once Congressman Mike San Nicolas's proposed fix to the Loyalty Recognition Act clears Congress. However, the congressman telling the Guam Daily Post in a statement Friday that he was never consulted about the governor's plan, and he has some concerns about it. While he supports the intent of Adelupe's quick payout for war claims, he thinks it may delay the remaining payouts, and it might lead to double payouts, one from the local government and another from the U.S. Treasury. 24-year-old Tyler Francis Regis has been arrested on allegations of fraudulent use of an ATM card. Regis is accused of using a Bank Pacific ATM card to withdraw funds from the account of a man who died in January of last year. Bank officials discovered discrepancies in the account. They filed a complaint with the Guam Police Department and released a picture of Regis taken by a camera at an ATM where he made a withdrawal using the dead man's ATM card. His picture was sent to the media and circulated on social media as well. On Saturday, Regis self-surrendered to Guam police at the Agana precinct. He was booked and confined, and the case has been forwarded to the AG for prosecution. We'll have more news after this.
Hey, welcome to this Subway ad for the new club collection. How do you want it? I'll take a book club. Absolutely.
So, last week we sunk our teeth into Subway's meaty new release, The Steak Club.
I didn't finish it yet.
Oh, not again, Sandra. This week, it's the new Southwest Chicken Club, also by Subway. No spoilers, but there's a tasty twist.
Jalapeno cheddar bread and guacamole?
Sandra, get out. Subway, make it what you want.
Good ending.
Limited time only at participating restaurants.
When your family needs medical care, how often do you find the need to visit multiple clinics? When a child has a serious ailment, do you find yourself meeting a medical provider only to learn you must go somewhere else for testing? At the FHP Health Center, you can find multiple specialties and testing services under one roof. And if your family needs urgent care, FHP is there for you with convenient weekday, evening, and weekend hours. Voted the island's best clinic in Pica's Best 2 years in a row. FHP, our island, your clinic. Learn more at FHPGuam.com.
10 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. The Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority is cracking down on illegal dumping activities taking place around its housing properties. GURA Executive Director Ray Tapazna says over the last few months, GURA has held town hall meetings in Agate, Maritzo, and Arahan, Talafofo, and Jonia to discuss illegal dumping in those villages. At a Gura board meeting last week, Tapasna told board members that some tenants are suspected of being involved in illegal dumping. He said they made it very clear during the town hall meetings that if you're caught dumping illegally, it could jeopardize your ability to remain in public housing. Gura has already received a written warning from the Guam Environmental Protection Agency for illegal dumping activities in a ravine next to a Gura housing area in Agate. Tenants are required to sign up for services with the Guam Solid Waste Authority as part of their housing agreement with Gura, and the new management at GSWA is enforcing that requirement, said Tapasna. Guam police have arrested a 39-year-old Roque Mendiola Quintanilla on multiple burglary allegations. According to a statement from GPD spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapao, surveillance footage links a Nissan reportedly owned by Quintanilla to at least 5 burglaries. On Saturday, Tapao says police identified the pickup, attempted to stop it, but Quintanilla did not comply, led police on a chase until he abandoned the pickup and fled on foot. He was eventually arrested and taken into custody. Among the burglaries he's accused of being involved in, the January 11th burglary at Changchin in Harmon, the May 16th burglary at a Carrier Guam office in Harmon, and the June 6th burglary at the LG store also in Harmon. Quintanilla is now facing charges of burglary, criminal mischief, criminal trespass, among other allegations. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with some weather.
It says here on the weather thing that Mike makes for me every day, partly cloudy skies with some isolated showers. We'll see winds coming out of the east, 10 to 15 miles an hour. Going to be warm, another 90-degree day on the forecast. Overnight lows near about 79 degrees. It was 82 when I got in the car this morning. Sunset tonight, 6:47. Sunrise tomorrow morning should be about 5:53. I'm hoping this is an updated radar picture. I still got those boogers in the mix, so it's going to be kind of tricky to see what's happening in this area. Mike?
Yeah, looking at my radar on my phone, it looks like that this sort of stuff has been filtered out of that display. So I'm guessing these are just some artifacts of clouds, maybe some Virga rain falling and not quite hitting the ground.
For the boys?
Virga.
Oh.
Virga. V-I-R-G-A.
Virga is a word from Letterkenny. And some of the people that I was hiking with on Saturday know all the lines to all of the episodes of Letterkenny. Nice. That's all I was hearing about snipes and Ferda all weekend long. It was absolutely gorgeous. And a buddy of mine comes up to me and says, "Dude, I got to get on an airplane. I got this long flight out to the West Coast." And I said, "Yeah." He says, so how do I download the show so I can watch it on the airplane?" And I'm like, I don't know. Hit HBO and see. So now the Ferda might be Ferda that Virga
yes.
that we're looking at.
Yeah.
In the meantime, all
I
right,
mean, definitely there are clouds moving across. I'm looking at the window here, and so they are those particular artifacts on the radar are associated with some kind of cloud. So, but not much rain falling out of it. Looking at satellite real quick here, we see some pinks and purples around the Marianas. That's some dry air that's kind of pushed on in. What I'm seeing here is it looks like a surge of energy from the north has come and pushed down some of the moisture.
Yep.
I'm not sure that that's actually what's happened, but that sure is what it looks like. In the meantime, all it really means for us is not as much rain as we were hoping for.
Yeah.
All week long.
It's like that. We wanted to get a few more inches of rain around here, just if for no other reason. The fire danger rating among the places that I was doing my hiking over the weekend is one of these spots that would normally be just the most beautiful color greens and browns out there, out in the Badlands of Guam, made worse now because of the grass fires. Some of them set by Mother Nature, some of them might have been set by poachers that are out there, because now there's these green shoots that have come up now. And that's going to attract the pigs and the deer out there, and the hunters should have an easier time getting to them. Unfortunately, because there's a lot of the root base that's gone, the red dirt that is normally a part of that vista is all going to run off now into the rivers and then down into Seti and Sella Bay. Unfortunately,
yeah. As tragic as fires are, they are actually nature's way of clearing out old dead growth and allowing for a better growing circumstance for new life.
But there's some spots up there look like the surface of Mars. Yeah. There's nothing there. There's just dirt. Anything that had grown there had been washed away years and years ago, and nothing else is taking hold, is taking root in some of those places. So that's something to be concerned about for sure. 8:15. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
Discover a new Galaxy. GTA introduces the new Samsung Galaxy S10 in 3 different sizes. The Galaxy S10 comes with cool new features like Power Share that allows you the ability to share your battery power with other devices. Or you can capture a wider world with its new camera featuring an ultra-wide lens for when you need to take pictures of the whole family. And with GTA handset payment option, you can take home a Galaxy S10 for $0 down. GTA, we start with you.
Quarter after 8 o'clock, the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by my friends over at American President Lines. They're shipping the future. Micronesia Renewable Energy. There's never been a better time to go solar because now they got batteries can get attached to those solar panels. In fact, now it might even be mandatory if you've got a solar system. GPA might want you to always have a battery attached to that. And then, of course, folks over at King's with their Crazy 19 menu. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, desserts, apps, snacks, and more. Available at King's in Tamuning and Harmon. Always open, always local.
If you're driving, chances are you'll need gas soon. And by the growl in your tummy, a trip to the grocery store too. But don't just buy gas and groceries without getting double miles. Instead, apply for the new United credit card from First Hawaiian Bank and start earning double miles towards your next trip. Gas, groceries, getaway. With the new United credit card, apply at FHB.com. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC. Equal housing lender. Additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Yeah, got to hang out with the folks over at Security Title. If your plans involve buying or selling a piece of real estate around here, talk to them first because they know all of the different things that might slow you down and get you crazy in the process. That's what their crazy relief is what they are over at Security Title. Take Care Insurance. Nice to see Greg Karabrock's online every morning. Greg, incidentally, the winner of the Ray Gibson 40th Anniversary Program drawing for free accommodations for his next trip to Resorts World Manila. And Cars Plus, where they've got the performance days going on these days. Challengers and Chargers. That's the kind of cars they've got some other cars on the lot too. But I mean, if you were one of those matchbook and what do you call it, Hot Wheels collectors from back in the 60s and 70s, no doubt you had your eye on those cars. The updated version's waiting for you at Cars Plus and Mighty.
It's the Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Don't you hate Mondays? I mean, it sounds like a cliche, and, you know, I try to avoid cliches as much as I can around here. But, yeah, this particular Monday, a little bit of a problem for everybody. Got word from Docomo Pacific online. They're Docomo Pacific on Facebook, which kind of interesting because I can't even get to Facebook Live here on the program, but I can get to Docomo's Facebook page. Apparently, there was a power issue somewhere that is affecting land-based internet traffic for them. And it's not just here. It's also apparently affecting folks up in the CNMI as well, according to their website. They're working
I
on
had
it.
just assumed someone had dug up the cable and stole it from them.
No, it's I think it's a piece of glass that those guys are using out there. But there's and I'm trying to there's a whole topography, if you will, of how we get the internet around here, and all kinds of connections between all the different telecoms. So it's for me to go, okay, well the problem is going to be just for Docomo customers, but sometimes some of the other internet players are also one way or the other kind of customers or partners with Docomo. So you might see some issues with your internet service, regardless of who your carrier is. So just watch out for that. 8:18 in the morning. Hi, it's the Ray Gibson Show until it's not going to be anymore. I had Jerry Roberts in the last hour, goofing off with a bunch of topics in the last hour before that as well. But as we like to do around this time of day, we jump into the head of Blake Watson and see if there's anything that we can talk about, because it's time for Sports with Blake.
I'm glad I saved all my tabs because there's no internet.
Yep.
So that was sports. See?
No, it can't be that simple. We can't think because the internet is down. Hapade, Guam, and CNMI power was lost to critical parts of our network, causing cable and internet outages. Mobile voice and data are unaffected. We appreciate your understanding as our team works quickly to restore your services. We'll keep you posted as more details become available. All right, and they've got, as you might imagine, there might be there's comments there from folks kind of reporting, yeah, okay, so it's out from for me, too. It's out for these guys there. So I'll keep an eye on their Facebook page. You keep an eye on it as well. And when the services begin to get restored, that'll be awesome. We'll know almost right away because our Facebook live feed will go back into a running situation. Right now, we're trying to log in, and it's restarting the process all the time because, as we're sending out a signal, it's got no place to go. Incidentally, our phone systems are also Docomo SIP line based, and if they're down, then our phone lines are down as well. So expect to hear a lot of talk from this mouth here between now and 10 o'clock in the morning. So my buddy Blake Watson in the studio, are there any sports tabs open on your computer?
There are. I'm just glad I got these open before. Okay, here we go. There was Bud Light Guam Women's Tackle Football League in their final regular season games. All four, because there are only 4 teams, they will advance to the playoffs. But of course, it is one and done, just like the male counterparts over in the Budweiser Men's Tackle Football League. There are only 4 teams, so they played through the regular season. Everybody plays each other twice, and then they go one and done in the playoffs.
I have a theory that they should actually split these teams up. We're familiar with six-man football, and 6-man football, they could actually field more teams and have a more competitive situation.
Yeah. Although the rules are a lot different.
They are, but I'm all for a more competition. When you only have 4 teams, I mean, it's who's going to win. Just based on how the season went. So why even have playoffs? If you had a bigger competition pool, then things can happen. There can be things that happen when you have more people playing, and you know how it goes. So that's my input for the day.
The 7-time defending champions in the league's last regular season opener, Team Legacy, they beat up the Steel Blazing Saints 26-0. They blanked them actually, and they also will take the number 1 seed going into the postseason as they posted a perfect 6-0 record, and the Saints winless. They will be rematching next week as the number 1 seed will take on the number 4 seed. And then in the later game, the Island Stunners, they defeat the Sindalu Raiders 22-0. The Stunners get the number 2 seed, and they will play the number 3 seed, Sindalu. So just because of kind of the way it shook out and the rankings, it's all going to be a rematch next week, and then winner of each game will go on to the championship the next week. So that's what we had in Bud Light Guam Women's Tackle Football. Elsewhere, in our buddy Dr. Tom Shea, he had his Scholar Athlete over the weekend. I believe it was last night. Sunday, right? It's always usually on Sunday night. The 19th annual Shea Su Ying Scholar Athletes Awards. And this year it was
Matias Calvo.
Matias Calvo from the 2019 Father Duenas. He was also valedictorian out at FD. It seems that he plays rugby amongst maybe something else. He's going to Dartmouth, it seems, in the fall. And then elsewhere, Alexia Brown, she was the female Shea Award Scholar Athlete, and she will be attending Mary Hardin Baylor in Belton. She is from, Guam High graduate. So she going to Belton, Texas. She's going to Mary Hardin Baylor.
That's a very elite crew of scholar athletes that he has joined. The nomination is important as well. It's not like every kid that gets nominated goes forward and makes it through the process.
I think there were 11.
I'm trying to remember how many there were, including young Mason, and so there is this. You get your best athletes and your best scholars out there, and you toss them out and see who rises to the absolute cream. The elite cream of the crop, if you will. Yeah. So our congratulations to those guys. It will be interesting to see what next year's candidates start looking like. It's funny. We've been between you and I think we've hosted several of the scholar athlete programs, and you were talking about this being in its 19th year. 19. And I got to say, what's Mason had been coming with me to scholar athlete dinners over all of these years.
Good food.
Well, the food is good. So it's just kind of cool that now that he's a graduating senior, he could have been nominated to something like that.
Very cool. Yeah, and next year
he's been with all of those. Yeah.
Next year will be a big year because it'll be year number 20.
Yep. So big deal going on with that one there. 8:24 in the morning. Trying to think if there were any big sporting events that I was a part of over the weekend. Nope, nothing.
Nope. I didn't do much. You know what? I just hibernated. Didn't even watch sports.
You've been sick. So you got some couch time in, right?
Yes.
So what did you watch on the couch? What was there on the couch?
It's funny. For I don't know, maybe starting Friday night, or Saturday morning. A lot of Ninja Turtles.
What?
There was a lot of Ninja Turtle stuff I'd never seen. Yeah, it was on like Hulu and stuff because I was looking for the original movies, and I searched Ninja Turtles on the two things that I have, Netflix and Hulu.
Yeah.
And the original movies were not on there. However, there were a couple things on there that I had just kind of passed me by. Like there was an animated movie from 2007 that with some pretty big names that actually I didn't know. I didn't know that Patrick Stewart from Star Trek, Chris Evans, Captain America, and then Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Sarah Michelle Gellar, all lent their voices to a 2007 one-off like Ninja Turtle animated movie.
I was not aware.
Yeah, see that.
I mean, it's
part I'm not
animated.
aware of.
It's animated, but it was an actual like movie. It wasn't like a TV movie or anything like that.
Yeah, so for me it was. I remember
Mirror?
watching. No, the movie that came out in 1990. I remember watching. I remember. I did watch the movie.
Yeah, and that's the one I was looking for. Because sometimes that'll pop up on either Hulu. It's been on there, several times. It comes and goes on Netflix and Hulu. Because I guess they've got good standing with Viacom, who own the TMNT properties. But anyway, and that kind of led me to a YouTube wormhole because I pulled up some of the original 1987 cartoons.
Did
they
you
had
have
couple of
a
them, so I
crush
watched those.
on Judith Hogue? Who was the April O'Neil in 1990? It's okay to say you were.
The thing is,
and there's nothing wrong with it.
She was replaced very early on. But I liked her better because the original April O'Neil in the
red hair.
Yeah.
Hair like fire.
Yeah, I like the second one better. Paige Tirico or whatever. She was the April O'Neil in the second and the third one. I liked her better. I don't know why. She had more tame. Her hair didn't scare me as much. It was more tame, not as 80s and permy.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm distracted because I just clicked into a Facebook Live and I see us, but it's from 6:25 this morning, so I'm not sure if there has been a new deal on that.
I've been refreshing my Facebook on my Google Chrome now, and it keeps giving me the site can't be reached.
Dude, this is so weird.
It's really weird,
right? I mean, just the whole. I've got internet. I mean, I'm on the computer that would normally be part of the stream, so I'm pulling stuff down on Facebook. I can see things on Facebook, but for whatever reason,
it's not
I
even
can't.
loading for me.
I know
I
why
can't
it's
even get in.
happening. I can tell you why it's happening.
Why? Okay.
Because the Toronto Raptors have a 3-1 lead in the series, the finals against the Golden State Warriors.
Ooh, I'm liking that a lot.
I really am too. It looks like we may have a champion other than Cleveland or the Golden State Warriors. And by the way, all you people on Facebook crying about the Warriors.
Are you seeing Facebook?
6 years ago, you didn't even know where Golden State was. So.
He's assuming that they're crying.
That's what people do. I'm going to Facebook and I'm going to complain about something. That's what I'm going to do. And it doesn't matter how perfect the world can be, but if you see somebody complaining about something, you go, "Oh, I can top that."
Yeah,
I've got a terrible service story from somebody that I could throw in there. Just we had a sunset, just wasn't pretty enough. I don't know. Somebody in charge just falling down on the job. 8:28. So did you stream anything new over the weekend? Did you,
well, I was going to say before I get into what I was going to ask you, I was going to say that led me to that there is a new rendition of the Ninja Turtles I didn't even know about. Saying all that, and with young kids now, I may show them, but I guess it started on Nickelodeon. They rebooted it. And this is more like along the lines of like 4Kids. They started it maybe in September. Mm-hmm. So there's a whole new season, and they're way, way different. More for kids. But anyway, that's what it led me to. But I did see a little bit because I know that you posted on before Facebook went out over the weekend.
Yes, I
about
did.
the 3 episodes of Black Mirror.
3 episodes.
I watched one.
Yeah, Black Mirror, and the first one has got Miley Cyrus in it. Mm-hmm. And it's great,
right?
And it is absolutely terrific. And she's a nut job.
She's tamed down a little bit, right?
Well, I mean, she's not showing her boobies like as much as she used to.
Her
I mean,
songs aren't as weird.
I don't know, but I thought she acted it out very well. I thought she did a really, really good job. I mean, of course, she's Hannah Montana, right? We know the kid can act, so it wasn't really that much of a stretch. She played a performing artist in the thing. So that first episode of Black Mirror, I will say that the second episode of Black Mirror,
is that the one with the heavyset guys wearing the?
So it's a couple of dudes that they're in a VR video game, a virtual reality video game, and one guy plays a guy in it, and his buddy plays a girl in it.
Some weird things happen.
And that's right. And then there's Boykin, right?
Yeah.
And
between them.
But yeah, it's in the real life world, it's 2 guys, but it's opposite couples, opposite genders in the video world, and let me just it will make you think about stuff. I mean, they get to a point where they're like, okay, let's kiss and see if this is, are we gay? Are we gay? And they kiss, and there's no click, there's no fireworks. But obviously, that can't be the end of the show. So take a look at that. The third one, I might need to watch the third one over again because it's kind of an hour and a half worth of a diatribe on how.
That's the one I watched the most of.
Everybody's feeling it today. I guarantee if you're having issues with your internet, you're feeling it today because it tells the story of how we have become so addicted to the dopamine high that we get every time we go to a Facebook or an Instagram or a WhatsApp, and there's blue check marks, or there's new thumbs up on a post that we did, or there's a comment on a post that we did, or a comment on a comment that we left, right? And and that's why we go back to the phone 150, maybe 200 times a day. We look at our phones.
And you post a story, that's even more addicting, seeing how many people watch my story. Because that's usually always more than what you get likes.
So I put up a picture of me enjoying the sunset at at the trail's end, and so I go back to Facebook about once every 2 hours to see how many more people liked it. And I'm like, well, dude, I'm over 150 now. This is great. So you do the same thing with your stories, right? If you post up a story, you got a picture of the kid, you post it up on the story, and you go back and forth looking to see if how many people besides your family are clicking on it.
I always like to see who, because not even if it's people that I know, but like sometimes not that famous people watch, sometimes like some organization, you know what I mean? Some some big name things will come across.
You
your
never
stuff.
know. Lulian Guerrero is thumbs up on my stuff, right?
Yeah.
And there's something magical when it's the unexpected Valentine and you're going, well, what am I going to read into that?
That's like the actor that played the Candyman, the guy from Candyman the movies, the actor, the guy.
The guy?
Yeah, he follows me on, which is kind of ominous. Yeah, he follows me on Instagram. Yeah, his name's Tony Todd. He also he does some voiceover stuff and all that. But yeah, so never know who's watching.
If the internet's up at the house, always be my maybe might get watched today. Chernobyl. I made it all the way through that series, and I got to say it's absolutely delightful. So much so that the Russians are so upset about it. They're going to make one. They're going to do a Chernobyl story based on what they believe that happens, and that is American espionage there and industrial sabotage. There's The Good Omen. I might have mentioned this before. Neil Tennant and something Gaiman, the guy that wrote American Gods. Which they have made.
Sam Gaiman? So we talked about it last week.
Yeah. Anyway, so they've got that is out there on, but it's on Amazon Prime. Good luck with that. And Letterkenny said, and I got to remember the guy that turned me on to that series a couple of weeks ago, right? We were just sitting random conversation between a couple of guys. What are you binging? And he started talking about Letterkenny. So I made the discovery and was telling this to Mike virtually all weekend long with people that could recite chapter and verse. Scenes from Letterkenny.
Really?
Yes. All the catchphrases are out there. How are you now? Right?
Yes.
Good and you.
Yeah.
You gotta have the whole thing out there and be ready to go. Anyway, so that's all the time that we got to pretend to talk about sports. We'll do some more later on when the internet's working again. In the meantime, headlines with Kevin Kerrigan right around the corner.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Word from the WhatsApp crew, 988-5874. That's 988-5874. WhatsApp guys say that the point.gu is up and running, so that feed is working. Thanks very much for that. I can actually see where the feeds are going out. I know that YouTube Live is cranking. A buddy of mine saying the Facebook Live video is working, but the commenting is for whatever reason not working right now. Don't know what it's all about. Like I said, there's some weirdness in the force and the way things are working. Landline services are down for some people. Landline data data that is based on landlines are down for Docomo customers again. They say power was lost to critical parts of the network, causing cable and internet outages. And this is going to both Guam and the CNMI. Mobile voice and data are unaffected, but again, land-based cable and internet outages are being experienced virtually island-wide. Says, we'll keep you posted as more details become available. I'll keep an eye on their Facebook page and keep you posted on all of that, too, as well. It's 8:35 and time for headlines. From the Guam Daily Post, here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning. A bill to allow the two most beneficial GovGuam health care proposals is likely to increase the cost to all Guam taxpayers of providing health care coverage to GovGuam employees and retirees. That, according to testimony heard Friday on Speaker Tina Munya Barnes' Bill number 94. Introducing the bill on Friday, Barnes said the intent is to ensure that our GovGuam employees continue to receive the highest quality health coverage and not the lowest cost option. Health Committee Chairwoman Senator Therese Terlahi asked DOA Director Edward Byrne whether the bill might lead to a more expensive GovGuam health care plan. Byrne acknowledged that the probability is that the wider the benefits, the more it's going to cost. The measure, if passed, would overturn current law limiting the GovGuam health care plan to the single most economical and beneficial plan. That law, based on a bill introduced by former Speaker Benjamin Cruz, who proposed the measure in an effort to limit the skyrocketing cost of health care coverage for GovGuam employees and retirees. Governor Lou Leon Guerrero signed two recently passed bills into law Friday. Senator Kelly Marsh's bill number 59 is now Public Law 35-23. It establishes a commission to share the Chamorro perspective of the Chamorro culture since Westerners first arrived in the waters around the Marianas. The governor said she agrees that the people of Guam have been overlooked and poorly understood throughout history. Senator Tello Taitagui's bill number 70 was also signed into law. It creates a task force to develop a strategy for disposing of waste oil from vehicles on island after the Cabras power plant is permanently shut down. The waste oil is currently burned at the plant, but when it closes, a new means of disposal must be found. Governor praised Taitagui for her effort to protect the island's environment. About 1,600 tax refund checks are being mailed out to island residents today. The checks total roughly $6 million and cover error-free returns filed on or before February 1st. The refund checks also reflect garnishments deducted from taxpayers who owe debts to the government of Guam. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Thank you, buddy. It's 8:37 in the morning. That's Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post. iConnect time is 8:37. Give them a ring later on, 888-8888, and ask them about how you might be able to get some great internet and mobile plans without forking over an arm and a leg. They really do have some great packages at iConnect.
If you're driving, chances are you'll need gas soon. And by the growl in your tummy, a trip to the grocery store too. But don't just buy gas and groceries without getting double miles. Instead, apply for the new United credit card from First Hawaiian Bank and start earning double miles towards your next trip. Gas, groceries, getaway. With the new United credit card, apply at FHB.com. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC. Equal housing lender. Additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Celebrate the special men in your life this Father's Day at Cold Stone Creamery. They've got the signature ice cream cakes going. Choose from the tall, dark, and delicious, or the Oreo cookies and cream. Order online at coldstonecakes.com. Only at Cold Stone Creamery, making fresh batches of ice cream cake at every store.
When it comes to power and performance, nothing compares to Dodge. And right now at Cars Plus in Mighty, you can save thousands on many Dodge vehicles in stock during our Dodge Performance Days. Like a new 2019 Grand Caravan SE, save $4,250, or save $6,150 on a new Durango SXT. Looking for more power? Take home a new Charger SXT Plus today for only $37,689, or save over $7,000 on a new Challenger GT. Get more power and performance at Cars Plus in Mighty during Dodge Performance Days. Cars Plus, driven by you.
Yep, got a note from Evelyn over at GTA. They said SARE systems are up and running. Haven't seen any issues all morning long. Glad to see that. 8:39 in the morning, and time to take a quick look at what may or may not be happening with the traffic gizmos. Internet-based, don't you know? And so let me see here. North and southbound Marine Corps Drive. Not bad at all. You might see a little bit of a flicker of business over at the intersection of 1 and 3, mostly on the 3 side. Up and down Route 16 could experience some delays as you get around the intersections. Same thing all the way into the downtown area. It looks like everything clears up basically after St. John's once you get past that. Might be a little bit of traffic on the Marine Corps Drive over by the ITC building, and a little bit just before you get past Horse and Cow. Let me see what else we got here. Route 8 looking okay. Yep, Route 8 looking okay, except at the intersections. 4 into town, 1 into town. No major problems there. Might be a little bit of a snag, a little bit of delay getting past the Navy Hospital. And let me see, all the way down to Sumai. Yep, blood red in and out of Big Navy. It's 20 away from 9 o'clock in the morning. Just avoid that place if you don't have to go to Big Navy, if you don't have to go commissary or, exchange or anything like that. 20 away from 9 o'clock in the morning on the point.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
I got to be on the internet. It's my job to be on the internet. This is what I do here. I talk on the radio, and I need the internet to be able to go out there and find stories, and certainly ways to interact between you and I. So when it's not there, trust me, I certainly miss it. One of the comments on Docomo Pacific's thread this morning, again, they're talking about power being lost to critical parts of their network. I didn't say power outage. They lost power to some of their critical network issues, causing cable and internet outages between here and the CNMI, apparently. And Annie writes, hey, folks, consequences of high technology. One server down. What's to happen when all the servers go down? Society is too dependent on technology. It's true. It's true, as they say. If I can't get, you know what I cannot do? If I can't get to the internet, I would have to break out an old-fashioned word processor on the computer. And on virtually every computer I own, the closest thing to a word processor is whatever the notepad is. Whatever the notepad is on the Apple, whatever the notepad is on the regular Windows computer. I haven't owned a word processor since. There used to be a collection of software that Microsoft did called Works, and I liked Works. The original version of Works for Windows had a word processor in it. You could do spreadsheets on it. You could do database work on the thing, which I thought was very, very cool. Anyways, I want to say they got rid of the database functionality of it and decided that, and you, if you were a real Excel person, you couldn't use the spreadsheet on Works. It just, it felt like, you want to drive a Ferrari and this thing is chugging along like a 62 VW, right? And so there were people that were like, yeah, I'll open that up and convert it. So, and faced with that kind of, well, I'm not sure about the usability or the portability of the documents. About the same time, Google came out with their word processors, their spreadsheets, and all of the software suite that they have, plus email, plus what was the name of the photography thing that they did? They had a Photoshop, Photo House. I don't know. They had a really good system. I don't know why they stopped working it. But anyway, so Google comes out with all of this cloud-based stuff. Then I said, this is perfect for me. I love this. I don't have to have a word processor. I'll use the one that Google's got in the cloud. Now, it might not be the absolute best word processor in the world, but I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a secretary. I'm not an administrative assistant. I might have to type a document in a word processor maybe a dozen times a month, if that. If that. Most of the rest of the time, it's just send people stuff in the emails. or maybe make an adjustment mark on a PDF. But it was the idea that it was based in the cloud that I was in love with, which meant that I didn't need to lug around a computer with me just to be able to do all of my word processing or spreadsheet work or photography stuff. The computer that I have at the office was, because it was cloud-based now, made it so that the computer I have at the house, they were virtually the same thing. The portability between a Microsoft unit that I'm in front of right now versus the MacBook Pro on my desk, but the same software, it's the same browser. So they're identical to each other. And if I don't feel like carrying a computer today, if I just want to work from the phone, I can work on the phone because it's all cloud-based. But what happens if I can't get to the cloud? That's what it was called. Yeah. Productivity Suite. Picasso was the name of the Google Photo. Now it's Google Photos, right? But before it was Picasso, and I always thought that was the best version of it because I love the way that you could edit, and it was so almost intuitive putting albums and things like that together. They've completely changed. One of my favorite features of Picasso, and I think you can still download Picasso. It's just an old version of it, and might be buggy on new computers. Might not do what it wants, but it'll do. It was one of the first things that did face recognition out on a mass scale. So you could go in and say, I want to see all of the pictures of my grandmother, and it would go through your entire library and find all of the pictures of Anna Underwood. It just knew what her face looked like, and it did pretty good catching young Anna Underwood versus middle-aged Anna Underwood versus old Anna Underwood. Did a pretty good job of keeping up with that. And then it had another feature, and it was almost creepy the way it worked, was it would take all of these pictures and stitch them together. And it make a little, like a movie out of it, where the head would stay in the same place. So, and I did this with young pictures of my daughter, from between 3 and about 6 years of age. And it was very interesting to watch her kind of grow up in these pictures. Again, the face stays the same position in the picture, and we all take basically the same picture, right? So the face stayed the same, but the background and the clothes and everything else were transitioning out. Like I said, it was almost a kind of a creepy thing when it all came out. But the point that I'm making here is, it's a tricky time, isn't it? Where everything is connected. What was it Blake and I were talking about? Is the new way that we entertain each other. There was a time where if you wanted to hear the Ray Gibson Show, you needed to be in front of a radio while I was on the air. Not now. Now, if you want to, it'll be 10 o'clock in the morning, and this will become, even on Facebook and YouTube, it'll become a video on demand, which means that you don't have to watch me in real time. You can catch me anytime you want to. You want to go back? Did he really say what I think he said? Did he say so-and-so from the Commission on Utilities was butthurt? I better check that. And so you can just pull up the stream and click around and find that statement. What's next? What's next? Probably the capability of being able to, without my interaction, put like tabs on the show. So if I talk about the CCU for a particular period of time, you ought to be able to go to Ray Gibson Show on YouTube or Ray Gibson Show on Facebook and type in Ray Gibson Show Consolidated Commission on Utilities. And it would give you the whole list of every time the CCU has ever come up, right? We'd put it would automatically put the tabs in there based on the words that are coming out of my mouth, right? If I'm talking to Simon Sanchez, I say the name Simon Sanchez. And it will tab that, and every time that Simon Sanchez's name comes up in the broadcast, you ought to be able to search it by that. So it was Ray Gibson talking about CCU on the 10th of June. You click, you search for it, the CCU, and that will be the option. And then there'll be one from Thursday last week, and another one from day before last week.
And every other time we talked about the high school.
Exactly. The what?
The high school.
Oh, the high school.
Yeah, it would come up then too.
With the teacher? Or the
no, Simon Sanchez High School.
Oh yeah, well I don't
think the computer
dude, it could be the recognition capabilities of these things could actually astonish us and make it so that it would understand the distinction between Simon Sanchez the human versus Simon Sanchez the high school. Just based on the context of the conversation, because these things are happening in just an incredible rate.
I just don't want a computer to do that. I want it to guess. I want me to have to be able to make it do something.
It's not going to be your choice.
I know.
It won't be your choice anymore. There's a guy in Silicon Valley that woke up and was thinking about that. And so he's going to go to work today and code it and then sell it to the highest bidder. He's going to sell it to Google, or he's going to sell it to Apple or somebody. And they might go, yeah, that's great technology. We're not ready for it right now. And just park the code somewhere until we're going to come out with a revision on something and make that happen. I will make the point again today. If you get a chance, there's Guahan Insurance Services is in the building. There's an infusion in the building, and right next door, Navy Federal Credit Union, right there, landmark building on Marine Corps Drive. You need to go in there and take a look at this GTA Experience Center. We had the girls in here last week talking about it, and so I was there, and it was actually kind of amusing because they invited me over there to meet up with Andy Gale. So we got. All of the marketing people standing around and watching Andy and I completely geek out on 5G and what the capabilities are going to be with 5G and stuff in the building that will make 5G that much more. Oh my God, I'm going to love it, right?
Yeah, you can't miss the spot either because they got a nice brand new logo up there, kind of cool with the little GTA and a kind of a modern font.
Did you get the logo? Do you understand what they're doing with that?
I have no clue, but I'm guessing. But I'm guessing it has something to do with just remote access and the little thing that they have up there.
It's a coconut tree,
but it looks like a little wireless transmitter.
But it's a coconut tree.
Don't look like one.
Coconut. It's a digital coconut tree, and the idea, and we talk about it every once in a while. The original coconut wireless, right? And so that would be the update of the concept of a coconut wireless. So you got a digital coconut tree out there.
What does a digital coconut taste like?
It's the same. It's the same. I got to ponder that one here for a second. I got a recipe. I've got a recipe book. It's not a recipe book. It's more. I ordered this. It's a runner's diet thing, and I got this, and it comes with all kinds of meals. I'm supposed to go on this 6-week program where I'm going to lose weight, but it's going to be a very specific. You go to Payless like on Saturday and buy everything that you need for the following week.
Wow.
All right. So they've got all these recipes in there, and there's one that I want to say has got where they put coconut milk in something instead of like beer. And I'm trying to decide whether I want to try it or not. 8:52 in the morning. When the system starts working again, you'll be able to hit me up at 888-8888. You should be able to send me WhatsApps at 988-5874. That's 988-5874. Near as I can tell, that part of our systems are still working. Earlier today, talking about an opportunity for you to get a new job at the Department of Education. They've got a job fair that's going to be coming up day after tomorrow. Over at Ukadu High School. Fun starts at 10, goes until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. During the job fair, applicants will have the opportunity to submit their resumes directly to the GDOE Human Resources Division. Imagine that. They'll be there where you are instead of you having to go the opposite way. And you may have an opportunity to interview directly with schools. So this is a good deal for everybody. 300 vacancies that they're looking to fill in the Department of Education. Now, if you're looking for, I know what's going through your head because you and I are, the same thinkers, right? Virtually, sometimes, occasionally, where you're going, I'd love to be a teacher, but you know what? The pay is crap. There are all kinds of stuff in there that you got to put up with. You would think that your partners in the process, the parents, would be more involved, but most of the time they aren't, and it feels like one of those just thankless jobs sometimes, doesn't it? So if you come to me and say, Ray, we got an opportunity for you. You want to be, we'd like you to be a teacher. Hard pass. Hard pass. I don't think so. Hard no on that one. Principal, maybe. I'd like to, if I'm going to get into education, I'd like to be right up there at the top. I own my own parking space and all of that. I think that might be a little bit more fun than actually being a teacher. Now, I say that knowing that there's another side. I'm blessed to have a lot of teachers, instructors in my life, including my nephew, R.D., and almost everybody I run with is a teacher one way or the other. And I absolutely love spending time with them, right? And I know that they know that there are challenges with their jobs. But you know what? They almost never, ever, ever complain. I never hear them say anything bad about certainly their schools and the people they work with. So I don't know. It's six of one, half dozen of the other. But like I said, the pay is crap. And near as I can tell, you got to be in the system for an awful long time before you start making any decent dough in there.
Yeah, if I were going to be a teacher, I would have to be teaching one of those really cool, fun electives.
I.e.?
Oh, I don't know, but anything but math or English or
yeah.
none of the basics, but yeah, something cool. I don't know, communications for one, or
like PE. Could you be I could totally
be a PE
see you in
teacher.
PE guy shorts.
Yeah.
In the PE like the half shorts
with my whistle.
Yes,
in my
I could totally see that.
Yeah,
I could totally see that. That was the deal? Like the PE teachers were always like the PE teachers that it was like. I don't know. They're just a step up from the maintenance guy, right?
Yeah. Well, they had to teach one other class, but usually it was something no one cared about, like introduction to science or something, And so it didn't really matter if they did a good job.
Yeah, no, we had. I'm lucky I got exposed to some good PE teachers in my life, and I always liked the way that they just absolutely put zero pressure on me, just whatsoever. Can you run fast? Nope. Okay. All right, hit that ball as hard as you can. Dink. That was it. Yep. Good job. There you go.
Yeah, but one thing that used to frustrate us is usually our football coaches would be our PE teachers, and these were some big, fat, corn-fed Texan guys. I mean, really, at 12 years old, we could outrun them.
Of course.
It made it kind of hard to follow instructions.
Yeah, if you can't do it, teach it. There's another job that is going to be going up. If you want to work around the schools and maybe a chance to make some better than teacher dough. Hold on a second, I got to relog into something here. Food service workers, cooks, drivers, and supervisors for the 2019-2020 school year. Sodexo, a world leader in food and facilities management, provide food services for the Guam Public School System. If you have previously worked in food service or have customer service experience and wish to apply for any of these positions, visit the Sodexo Career Center, sodexo.balancetrack.com. And then just do a search in there for Guam, and it'll give you the positions and maybe a little bit about competitive wages, benefits. I gotta imagine this is an all-you-can-eat kind of thing, right? Because you're working at a place that makes food for the kids.
Yeah, I would go for one of the driving jobs, and so they would never know how much I eat.
Would that be one of those things where they search you? You have to test all the time. Probably, right?
Yeah.
Because you got the car. Give me the keys to the van.
Yeah.
All right. But you can still be a cook or a food service worker or a supervisor.
Test taster.
Right. I don't know. I've heard from the kids. They're not. I don't know that Sodexo hits any flavor home runs with the kids. God, that we'll look for that in the first part of the new year. First part of the new school year. Watch out for this. Somebody's kid will take their phone to school and take a picture of their meal, and that will go up on the internet. And then you want parental involvement. Parental involvement. Yeah. Did you go to any of the last 20 PTA meetings since your kid's been in school? No. But man, if the kid shows up and posts a picture on Facebook of what they consider to be crappy food, oh my God, you'd think they were paying for it. The way people come out and just jump in and stand on the necks of the people that are slinging this food under fuzzy federal regulation, I might add. But they do a good job over at the Sodexo. I know a couple of people
Was
there.
school food okay when you were going to school here?
Because
where I was, it was good.
All right, I will cop to Catholic school privilege.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I went to school at Cathedral Grade School for the first 6 years of my educational life. First grade through sixth grade at Cathedral Grade School, and we had a lady, the Sister Roberta was the name of the lady that ran the cafeteria at Cathedral Grade School, and it was good all the time. It was good all the time. Somewhere out there is somebody, a classmate of mine that is listening, that remembers there was this. I love pizza. And she made, and maybe it was only once a month, something like a deep dish pizza.
yeah.
You know, soft bread at the bottom, and had her kind of spaghetti slash pizza sauce on top of it, and ground beef for days on this thing, and sprinkles of cheese. Oh my God, it was good. I have not had anything that tastes that good, similar to that, in my life. In my life, I've been pursuing that flavor, and I've never gotten it. And Sister Roberta passed away years ago, God rest her soul, and I would kill to have that recipe. Yeah, you're out there, you're somewhere from around my vintage. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Food tasted better in the 60s. Maybe that's all there is to it. Hey, look, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. Got another hour of yak. It's just me and Mike now because the internet is broken, and that means my phones don't work. But you're still welcome to chime in on the WhatsApp or other ways to get a hold of me. We'll talk about your comments and feelings in the next hour.
Deadly collapse. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. A construction crane fell into a downtown Dallas apartment building and parking garage during a storm this afternoon, killing at least one person and injuring several others. Rescue officials say some of those injured are in critical condition. A spokesperson for Dallas Fire calling it a tragic first.
I don't recall ever responding to one where it's actually fallen onto an occupied building, much less an occupied 5-story residential high-rise. Yes, we have some live fire dogs who are on location trying to help go inside some of the zones that we're not sending first responders into.
The Weather Service had issued warnings of possible wind speeds in excess of 70 miles per hour associated with the storms. President Trump announced late Friday that the U.S. and Mexico reached a deal on reducing the number of migrants heading toward the U.S. border, and in exchange, he postponed tariffs on Mexican imports that were to take effect tomorrow. Many Republicans opposed the president's proposal, including Wisconsin GOP Senator Ron Johnson.
I think just in general, Republicans understand that tariffs are a tax on American consumers, and we don't want to see them in place long term, nor do I believe President Trump does either. He's using tariffs as leverage in trade negotiations, and I think he used them as leverage in this situation brilliantly, quite honestly.
Democrats say the president created a crisis, then lifted the threat of tariffs at the last minute. The White House pushing back on a New York Times report that the contents of the agreement included many actions Mexico had already agreed to. House Democrats have scheduled a series of hearings this week on the special counsel's report. They're intensifying their focus on the Russia probe, with some calling for impeachment. The Democrats are trying to focus public attention on allegations the president sought to obstruct a federal investigation, and also to highlight his campaign's contacts with Russia during the 2016 election. This is Fox News.
This is Ronnie. Ronnie is about to break his piggy bank.
Come on, piggy bank.
Ronnie wants to upgrade his smartphone.
And this piggy's gonna help me.
If Ronnie had signed up for GTA's handset payment option, he could have selected a new smartphone with an affordable monthly plan.
I could have what?
Exactly. Sign up for HBO at GTA and don't break the bank.
I'm sorry, piggy bank.
Terms and conditions apply. GTA, we start with you.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
The U.S. Navy on Saturday sending a signal to Iran as its carrier-based aircraft conducted missions from the Arabian Sea.
Amid increased sanctions against the Iranian regime and also that continued tension between the United States and Iran, leadership today from the Iranian regime actually called on European countries to try to normalize trade practices with the Islamic Republic. Speaking today in Tehran, Iran's foreign minister Mohammad Zarif warned of consequences for European countries who do not seek common economic ground with Iran. After withdrawing from the Iran nuclear deal last year, the Trump administration has imposed heavy sanctions on a variety of Iranian sectors, forcing the country to look to other countries for relief.
Fox's Trey Yingst. Most Democratic presidential candidates are in Iowa today in an effort to demonstrate early support in the kickoff caucus state in what amounts to an afternoon-long political talent show. 18 of the 24 declared Democratic hopefuls are set to speak at the Iowa Democratic Party's annual summer fundraiser in Cedar Rapids. Former Vice President Joe Biden, who leads in Iowa and national polling, is scheduled to be in Iowa Tuesday. A pricey bathroom break for one teen.
The teen driver in the province of Manitoba in Canada clocked at 105 miles an hour. The 16-year-old telling police he was driving well over the speed limit because he had eaten hot chicken wings and really needed to use the bathroom. He was fined $727 for speeding and more than $150 for driving without a supervising driver. Officials also said the teen's license would most likely be suspended, and the department added there was no excuse, not even when nature calls, for that kind of speed. Ted Linder, Fox News.
The average price of gas fell 9 cents a gallon over the past 3 weeks to $2.84. Industry analyst Trilby Lundberg says the price is 17 cents a gallon lower than a year ago. Lower crude oil prices are contributing to the price drop. I'm Rich Dennison, and this is Fox News.
Let's go for a drive.
Let's take a stroll. Let's gallivant. Let's go cruising.
We all have different ways to describe how we get up and go in our cars. But whatever you may call it, you can do more of it when you save 6% off your fuel purchases at any Shell station when you use your eligible Bank of Guam Visa and MasterCard credit cards. So stop by any Guam or CNMI Shell station and start saving today. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
5 after 9 o'clock in the morning, the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by American President Lines. They're shipping the future Micronesia renewable energy. Never been a better time to go solar, especially now because they got batteries. It's like living in the future. Except it's now at Micronesia Renewable Energy. Guys over at King's with their incredible Crazy 19 menu. That's crazy with a K. That's how you know that they're zany about it. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, appetizers, apps, snacks, all of them available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Always open, always local. We're talking about King's. And, of course, Cars Plus, where they're having the performance days. I have performance anxiety from time to time, but in this case, we're talking about performance automobiles, Chargers, and Challengers from back in the old days when everything went vroom, vroom. Well, imagine what they can do with the technology today and then put them inside the chassis of those old cars. Well, they did, and you can buy them today at Cars Plus and Mighty.
The Coconut Wireless is back. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Some places might be experiencing internet and information outage right now. Apparently, there's some critical circuits over at Docomo that are down between here and including the CNMI. So just FYI, if you're going, well, I can't think. I can't get to the internet. I can't think. Mileage may vary. There's always a good idea. Getting back into a little bit of that conversation about what to do with internets and webs and things like that. Here's a thought. As I ponder this, always have a backup. Always have another way out. You ever do that? Or just when you walk into a building, when you walk into a room, do you know how to get out of that room? If there was something that prevented you from coming out the way you came in, could you still execute an exit?
First thing I do is look for the exits, and if there's
That's
less
right.
than 3,
Yep.
I'm second-guessing whether I actually want to be there. There's got to be at least 2 ways out of there other than the way I walked in.
Exactly. It's one of those things. Well, the same is true when it comes to data circuits and things like that. So if right now you're having a hard time, very important to have some kind of a backup. And there is probably a backup that I could plug the phone system into to make it actually it works in here. It's working fine in here in the internal network. But because they're data circuits, they're data lines. It's as far as our phone equipment is concerned, it can't see the rest of the world. So that's just the way it is. And even if I were to plug in another one of the carriers that we use here at this place at Choice Broadcasting, still wouldn't make any difference because the origin of those SIP lines are at Docomo Shop. So not much I can do. The backup on if the phones don't work is Ray Gibson talks for an hour, and that's okay. Broadcaster. Long time I know how to do it.
In his 5th decade.
There's a certain freedom. Because you know what it means? it means I can say whatever I want to without having to even worry that there might be somebody that would disagree with me and call me up and say, you are a lunkhead joker. What are you talking about?
That's right. They just have to scream at the
They
radio.
just scream at the radio, and they'll get a beep when they try to call in, which means that if you call as many times you want to, it ain't going to get over here. And that's just the way that is. And so, like I said, there's a certain kind of freedom that allows me.
Yeah, but I'm kind of sad
I don't want to
about
have
the whole
that freedom
phone
every
thing,
day.
man.
Why?
You know,
Well, I know we had guys that we wanted to talk to today.
Well, you know, for me, it's messing up my exercise regime, man.
You can always exercise. That's okay. But yeah, that's the other part of this 6-week thing that I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. It's got all these workouts.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hate them because they're all core and ab workouts.
Yes, that's what you need, bro. You got to strengthen. You will be so happy you did
I
because it
know,
will
I
actually
know.
make your running easier.
I know
and
it
better.
will, and I'll be healthier because it takes care of some of that inside
cares
fat,
about that,
all of
but
that.
it'll make you
it's-
faster.
I'm just saying.
Faster.
It's just,
It will make you faster.
my ankle's still jacked up. So I don't,
Well, it'll help in that regard, too.
Well, one of these days. Anyway, 10
You know,
after,
'cause the
listen,
ankle
I sound
bone is
getting
connected to
whiny.
the ankle bone is
My
connected.
ankle's still jacked up. I went hiking on Saturday on a lousy ankle.
Nobody stepped on it?
Hurt like hell. Woke up Sunday morning, hurt like hell. What do you want to do today? Nothing that involves anything any tougher than walking in sand. How's that?
That's where you need that CBD oil. You can rub it in there at the end of that walk.
Oh, there's rubbing of CBD oil in there. Yeah, CBD oil and icy hot at the same times, and fun combination. Wash your hands before you use the bathroom after that. And where was it? 10 after 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm just there's a stream of consciousness that I'm going to be dipping into and out of as the program continues. As I mentioned earlier today, I might have mentioned earlier today that this is a good clipping day. There's all kinds of great stories. Mondays are fun for me because Mondays I get in and I've got 3 days worth of 2 newspapers to look at, right? So I've got PDNs and posts from Saturday, Sunday, and today that I can look at. So there's and it's Guam. There's always something to talk about anyway. But in this case, I've got 3 days worth of piled high newspapers that I can go through.
Well, at least you have 3 days of newspaper to read and 3 days worth of cat box liner.
Exactly. So we've got from the clipping from today. There is going to be at an informational hearing Wednesday at 9 a.m. over at the legislature. Sabina is going to be asking for information from the Department of Revenue and Taxation. Collection plans and efforts, enforcement of bed and breakfasts and short-term rentals, pending rules and regulations, technology needs updates, human resources status and their needs, insurance licenses updates, the impact of the Tax Cut and Jobs Act of 2017, military buildup, associated revenues, technical research and appeals branch process and purpose. All of that will be a part of what it certainly looks like it's going to be an all-day deal for Daphne and the folks over at the Department of Revenue and Taxation. We had earlier tried to snuggle up with her on the phone to talk a little bit about something that you might have seen over the weekend. And it is the 2018 delinquent tax assessments. Now, I don't know just how bad the computer systems are over at the Department of Revenue and Taxation. I will say, though, that to the degree that they are able to, on the annual, in the very least, spit out the delinquencies. Look how fat this thing is.
Is that property tax?
These are all property taxes. Okay. Yeah, delinquent property taxes, right? That they could spit something like this out on a regular basis is just kind of amazing to me. So even though it doesn't sound like they're the most technologically advanced of the departments and agencies in the government of Guam, they've at least got the capabilities of being able to toss something like this out. Now, you might be going, wow, look at the size of that 2018 delinquent tax assessment, page after page after page. How many pages in total? What have we got? 88 pages in total of people's names attached to properties. And you're going, all these people owe all that money to the government of Guam. Okay. So most of these are 2 digits. I mean, if you take a look down most of the pages, I think you will find that the majority of the unpaid taxes in some cases might be $22, okay. $60, something like that. Yeah. I mean, the taxes out here aren't that high to begin with. So you might see on some of the bigger, crazier properties and things like that, you might see something going into the 3 and 4 figures. There's a Woostig property. It's got to be up in Gigo, $1,690, and that might be the highest on the entire back page, and it is. That's the highest of the liabilities in the back page here. There's others. So I like to do. For me, the fun here is looking at these and going through them and seeing if there's who's famous here, right? Look up senator names.
The fun part is not finding your name on that list.
Well, like I said, there's a familiar name on the list, but at least one of the properties is a property that I am responsible for, and I know that tax bill has been paid. So I'm not. That would have been one of the questions that I wanted to ask of the lady. See if we can get. Let's see this. See if we can get to the Leon Guerreros, and see if there's any property here with Lourdes Leon Guerrero. JKL. Okay, almost. LMN. What? Don't tell me you didn't do that either. Leon Guerrero, Robert. Okay, let me go back up. Jess LG. Do I have any Lourdes? No, I've got a Lucille Leon Guerrero, but I don't see anything else under that Leon Guerrero. Maybe I got to look for Cook or something like that. I don't know, but it might be fun. Right? Where was I? I'm in L's. Let's see, what do we got for a Lee? Is in Regine Bisco. Is there anything in it? And it wouldn't be out of the question. I mean, there was that little operation with the Chamorro Land Trust Commission, right, on some deeded property that she was able to get her hands on, and then said, no, not me. No, don't see her name in there either. But that'll be the fun. It's in Saturday's newspaper, so Daily Post. So see if you can take a look at if you've got a copy laying around, and just go through it and see if you can find some Tony names here and maybe put them together with something else, just because it's fun. Churn the gossip if you want to. So there were a couple of other things that were of interest. Speaking of properties. This will be interesting. I need to make sure that Big Sister Shelley is aware of it because this will affect traffic in her neighborhood. There's a temporary traffic control that they're putting in place at Barragata Heights. The public hereby advised that on June the 17th, which is Monday, next week, through March 30th of 2020, motorists traveling on Barragata Heights, South and North Savannah Road should expect intermittent lane closures and shifts as shown on the map. And as is become typical of the way these announcements comes out, it gives you the absolute worst map that they could have ever done. There's nothing that shows any landmarks. It's just, here's an outline written on a road that might be Barragata Heights. As a longtime resident of Barragata Heights, I can tell you, I have no idea where the hell this is. I'm trying to make heads or tails out of it. Where exactly is this? North and South Savannah. Okay, I think I got it. Where's the gas station? Where's the Church of the Korean Jesus here? Where's the Church of the Filipino Jesus? They're all right there on those same roads that you're quoting, but I don't see them on the map. Anyway, so it says there are going to be some lane closures and intermittent shifts. The project includes trenching, waterline improvements, and road restoration. We apologize for any inconvenience you may experience while the work is ongoing. Fine. Just never go to that part of the island again. The same thing. Remember when they came out a few weeks ago and said that there was going to be a year's worth of construction on Marine Drive in front of the coffee place and Nissan? Right? And sure enough, there is, but they weren't very clear what the nature of the work that was being done, when it would begin, when it would end, what time of day it was going to begin, what time of day it was going to end, just that we're going to have crappy traffic. And that's all we're going to tell you. And it might be a year where we have this crappy traffic. It's kind of fun doing this without the worrying about the phones.
Oh, yeah, it is, yeah.
Like I said, I don't want the freedom every day, but it is kind of nice. I don't want to get into total bellyache mode, though, on a Monday.
But you can steer the ship on
I guess.
the direction you want to go. I'm just holding on for the ride here.
That's cool. That's cool. So anyway, for those of you that are wondering how come there's no phone calls in or out, because something broke over at Docomo, and that's where we get the paperwork on our gizmo here is all connected. to that.
I bet they wish they had Micronesia Renewable Energy. They would have had a battery on that thing, and it would have gone out.
Could have been. I don't know. I want to see if something works. I got a light where I did not have a light before. Let me see if I can make something. No, it was there for a second, and now it's gone. Yeah, there's the beep. Anyway, so it's struggling. I think what's happening is struggling. It's trying to get through. We just need a little bit more bandwidth on the thing. Just imagine when it's time for 5G, we can have outages at like twice the speed, 3 or 4 times the speed of no information coming down. Sorry, yeah, comedian. I'll be here all week. 9:19 in the morning is where we were. A couple of stories that we touched on a little bit earlier today. One of them has to do with the fact that the carnival is open. I'll say that now. I'll repeat that because you might have missed the memo if you hadn't been paying attention, if you'd been at graduations or maybe just goofing off at the beach or something like that. It is not as though a big deal has been made about the inauguration of the 75th Liberation Carnival. Now, I'll just underscore that here for a little bit because it's the 75th Liberation Carnival, the 75th observation of the liberation of Guam by forces of the United States, including mostly Marines launching from Navy ships that come out here to liberate Guam from the hands of, in some cases, the barbaric Japanese. Mm-hmm. And you would think that there would have been a whole lot more made of the opening of the carnival, but it was shrouded, he says, in the controversy that was the casino games. And now, before the internet went to hell, there were a couple of people online that were actually sending kudos out to the Department of Revenue and Taxation because they were saying that wow, you know what? There's actual people here. There's actually people in the casino watching, checking IDs, and keeping notes on who is winning and who's not winning. And that's inside the casino. They said they're walking around outside to surveilling the other games of chance, the non-casino games of chance out there. So who knows? It's possible that despite the concerns that have been voiced by so many here on Guam, it is possible that we will be able to watch money go in and come out of the carnival, with the government of Guam getting their appropriate share of those taxes. What a miracle! It's possible that despite weeks and weeks and weeks of controversy and heartache over at the legislature over whether or not this constituted gambling, and do we do this? If we do it, then we're hypocritical, and we can't say with one side of the face that we don't like gambling and casinos are bad. It's a sin against God and Jesus, but it's okay at carnival time, right? So we made it through all of that stuff, and then we made it through the rules and regulations, the promulgation of the rules and regulations, and it now looks like there is something going on over at the carnival that might actually meet with the expectations of us in the community that says if there's going to be gambling, it should be for the public benefit. Hey, we might actually be there. On the other hand, it's early. On the other hand, they just opened yesterday. So I don't know when I'm going to do it, but I could work out a program here where I come up with some money. Really don't want it to be mine. Maybe yours. Maybe that's what we'll do. You will front me, and we'll say it's for investigative journalism. And we'll take your money, say $100, not going crazy here, and give it to Michael, right? Because Michael's, he can be incognito in this town. Unless he opens his mouth, most people won't know that that's Michael Knight from the Ray Gibson Show. And just have you go there with your sunglasses on, right? We'll put your hair up in a thing, and you can wear a hat.
Oh, please, not a man bun.
I didn't say man bun. I was very careful about not saying man bun. I left that for you.
I can wear one of those cool Joe.
You could do up your hair so that it all fits in your hat.
The real Joe Cruz actually has several hats. I could borrow one of his.
Exactly. So and then you go over to the casino and we'll bet. You bet with the $100, and let's see what happens when you win, right. And let's see what happens when you lose.
Oh, I don't.
Right?
Lose,
Is there? You don't lose.
I don't lose, bro. Come on.
Dude, they got baccarat there. I don't even know how to spell baccarat. Not even sure if I'm saying baccarat right. But they've got that game there, I think.
Like
and they've got different kinds of
head cold.
They got different kinds of poker And the only poker game that I know is the one that we all played when I was a little kid. That was it. I mean, it's not like, they've got 50 different variations of what basic poker is now, and so I don't know anything of it. I haven't kept up with it. God, speaking of things I haven't kept up with.
Yeah.
I went to Mass on Friday.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. They've changed a bunch of the words.
Did your skin start to burn when you walked in the building? That's what happens to me.
Everybody's skin was burning because it was down in Arahan and the air conditioner didn't work. It's the craziest thing. In Mass, the Pully gets up and starts talking about how hot it is and really would like to. And you want to talk about your crazy times to be doing this. It's a funeral mass, by the way. And so he gets up there and starts apologizing because the air conditioner doesn't work and starts talking about the bankruptcy of the church and the archdiocese and all this stuff. I'm going, maybe you might want to get back to the, something, I don't know, feels like a eulogy or a statement, from Scripture about what happens when you die or something like that. Yeah, we get it. It's hot, but we don't need the editorial in here. And I thought, well, this is kind of crazy. But then everybody said, well, wow, raised at a Mass. That is kind of crazy. If he's talking about, if the Pully is talking about bankruptcy of the archdiocese and Ray Gibson is at Mass at the same time, that's got to be two of the four horses, right?
Yeah, sign of the end times, bro.
25 after 9 o'clock in the morning. But if the end times come, keep them as far away as possible from right now. We've got so much to live for. There's so much to live for. I asked Kevin Kerrigan what he thought was one of the big stories today. And you know what his answer was? For those of you that wake up late and didn't hear him at 6:15, Kevin, what's the big story? And he looks at me and straight as the day is long says, Jollibee. Jollibee.
Yeah, you're right.
Is the big story.
There was no hesitation on his part.
It just, right, popped right out of his mouth. Do you love your mother? Yes. What's the big? Jollibee is the big story. The idea that over the next couple of years they want to put 4 more stores up, at least. Well, now the question that I have in my head, because you can throw now that we've gotten the surge in the community. Now everybody's had their Chicken Joy and their sweet spaghetti, right? Now it's not like they're going to open up another one and it's going to be 4 weeks of people in line.
Yeah.
Right, because the dead locations open, everybody's gotten their fix, and by now, and it's kind of amazing to me is the number of people I see posting on Facebook that are now just the happiest people in the world because A, there's a Jollibee, B, it has a drive-through.
Yeah.
And so they're posting about that. Oh, I was the last person in the drive-thru last night. But they're going to. It's the idea that they're going to be opening up a whole bunch of other locations. So the question that I've got is, where are the other 4 locations going to be?
Yeah, because location is everything. And keep in mind, this isn't Jollibee's first time here.
Yep.
They've had them here in the past, and they have failed. I'm not trying to poo-poo anybody's plans.
No, there's no poo-pooing on Fridays or Mondays.
Whoever's coming up with this idea needs to keep this in mind, and maybe so many locations is probably not a good idea. I'd say 2, maybe 3 max for an island this size. You have less than 200,000 people here. You're just not going to be able to do 5 Jollibees.
Well, to the degree that there might be something to that, right? But think about multiple locations in other businesses. It's not like we can't support X number of gas stations. There's gas stations literally across the street from each other around here. Oddly, there's none in Tumon. I always thought that was weird, that there is no gas station in Tumon. I can't tell you the number of times I've wanted to be. I've needed to put gasoline in my car, but we don't have one of those in the Tumon area. But the point is that there are ways to support it. Having been in and around the coffee business for a time or two in my life, I'd always go, wow, you keep opening up the stores, they're going to start cannibalizing the customer base from one to the other. And the answer is no, it didn't work out like that. People just, that's a convenient location and that's a convenient location. So if I'm on this side of the road, that's the one I'm going to go to. If I'm on that side of the road, that's the one I'm going to go to. But the money still goes in the same pockets. So I don't know. Might be that we've got a lot of business to do here, and we've got one location that's going to be doing gangbuster business all the time, and the other ones will just do all right. And that's all they need to do is just do all right. Because it's going to be, I want Jollibee. Where are you? I'm over here. Okay, the Jollibee for that is there. The McDonald's for that is there. The Wendy's for that is there. So I don't know, multiple locations. I don't know, especially in that kind of game. Will it be detrimental to their success? I don't know. Is the answer? Because I ain't in that game. I'm in the radio station game. And the more ways, which is the way we do it, the more ways that we can entertain you. Online, on the air, on demand, on any speaker, anytime, the better that works out for us. People say, "Oh, there's not as many people listening on the radio because they can catch you on Facebook Live." Doesn't matter. Again, goes into the same pocket. But what about the other radio stations? If people are listening to the boss, that means they're not listening to you. Again, money goes into the same pockets. Is the way that works. And it's a happy equation at the end of the day. 9:29 in the morning. It is the Ray Gibson Show. Items left over on the table of contents. And I didn't, it's a 9 o'clock hour. And I always head into crime when I'm in the 9 o'clock hour. And I'm trying to break myself of that habit because it's so annoying. I think that we can come off of a great weekend. And unfortunately, the things that are rotating around in my head is the fact that we've still got lunkheads that look south at the law. And they keep getting put back out. My friend Richard Fee, educator class, has an editorial in one of the 6 newspapers that were on my desk this morning talking about exactly that problem. Is everybody in this community doing whatever it is that we got to do to keep ourselves safe? Cops out there doing their jobs. God bless them. Every single one of them. And so they're out there doing their thing. But you get somebody that gets arrested and they go to jail for 20 minutes, and then they're back out on the street. That reminds me, at some point I'm going to talk about Bill 160 over at the legislature, this Jimmy's bill. This is the bill that makes sense, that's been introduced recently. And then you've got another bill that I'm looking at going, no, we before we entertain this in a public hearing, can we please have the public hearing on Stand Your Ground, which was introduced months ago, which still has not had a public hearing, for which there are a lot of people with questions with the Castle Doctrine and Stand Your Ground and what exactly are my rights when it comes to being able to defend myself. But no, you know what's going to happen is we're going to get a public hearing on the balloon ban before that happens. Because that's the real problem. That's what we've got to solve here, is the number of these unlicensed, lighter-than-air devices that go up into the sky, and eventually the helium leaks out from them, and they fall to the earth. They plummet to the earth in big numbers. And it's littering. It's littering. And it's bad for the environment. And the turtles will catch the balloons and they'll think, oh, this is a funny jellyfish. I'm going to eat it. And then it will go into the turtle's stomach and never digest, and pretty soon it's going to be a Matai turtle. And that is a sadness. That is don't get me wrong. Yeah. That's a sad thing. I love sea turtle. I think they're beautiful, beautiful creatures.
They cook up really
don't
well,
wish
too.
They cook up. There's supposed to be 11 different kinds of meat. But never give turtle meat to the dog because it'll make the dog's hair fall out.
Yeah, well, it's cold in the stomach.
Have you ever heard that?
No.
Anyway, myth and legend. I've never tried it. But anyway, so that's the deal, right? As everybody says, no, this is bad for the turtles and the sea life and the sea creatures and all of that stuff. We'll never find Nemo because Nemo is swimming in an ocean that's filled with these balloons that went up from the Teeds and High graduation.
Did you feel the island shake a little bit when I said it's cold in the stomach? Every Filipino listening to us said, oh, yeah, it is.
It's cold in the stomach?
That's what they'll tell you.
The turtle's cold in the stomach?
Yeah. See, the island shook again. That's all the Filipinos nodding.
Nodding up and down.
Yeah.
Okay, you've got to explain it.
I have no explanation for it. They just say when you eat turtle, it stays in your stomach, and so they call that being cold in the stomach.
Interesting.
Unlike beef or pork or other things which you eat and make you feel good.
Is that all kinds of turtles or just seagoing turtles?
I'm thinking it's all kind of turtles.
Because there are turtles here. Mm-hmm. I've seen them. Yeah. You know, people go to the pet store and they buy those little turtles.
Yeah.
And pretty soon you get tired of keeping that clean. Mm-hmm. And as it turns out, they're not great pets.
No.
You know, don't roll over, don't play bad, speak, give me a paw, shake your hand. And so they'll get thrown out in the rivers. And so I've seen many of them grow. You go to Tower of London, not too far away from here, right down the street.
Yeah.
They've got a couple of turtles in there. that I keep waiting for somebody to turn into soup. Hold the turtle, make it pee. Is the punchline. Sorry, 9:33 in the morning. I got to take a break here because I've been talking nonstop for like a half hour, something like that. iConnect time is 9:33. Swing by the nearest iConnect and have them teach you all about the great plans they've got for internet and mobile that are online right now at iConnect.
Hey, it's Mom. Somebody forgot to thaw the chicken, so meet us at Chili's for 2 for $25. Oh, and congratulate your sister for making the basketball team. She's thrilled. Love you. See you at Chili's.
Enjoy 2 full meal combos for $25. An appetizer, 2 mouth-watering entrees like our crispy chicken breast, smoked barbecue quarter leg, or smoked jalapeno cheddar sausage. Served with corn on the cob and french fries. 2 bold combos for $25. A full-on meal deal available nightly for a limited time. Together, we Chili's.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training.
What happens to us when little things go wrong? Do we get upset and allow those small issues to impact the bigger issues? I'm Jerry Roberts, and at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show, a little perspective on tolerance and seeing the big picture.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point at guamtraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts. Brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank on 93.3 The Point.
No, I'm sorry. Typical Ray Gibson distraction mode, right? So I wanted to go and see if we were streaming online, and because I keep getting notes from people that say, "Hey, you're online on Facebook Live," and I'm going, "No, we're not. We haven't been on Facebook Live since about 7 o'clock this morning." And I go, "But I can see you." I said, "Look at the timestamp on it. The timestamp says this is 6:55 or something like that. It doesn't say right now." So that's going to end up being interesting all morning long. So at currently 9:35, and at the end of the day, you know what? This is a radio broadcast, so as long as I'm getting on the radio, I'm fine. For those of you that absolutely positively have to be watching and interacting, do it on YouTube. YouTube Live is online and awesome, which is the craziest thing in the world because you'd think that it would be all the same internet. And if I can't get on Facebook Live, how is it possible that I'm still getting on YouTube Live? How is it possible that I'm still able to get on thepoint.gu? And the answer is I have no idea. None whatsoever. I used to know. And, yeah, you're going to get a slurp every once in a while because I got to catch my breath from time to time. I used to know how things work, but I don't anymore. Things have gotten, the world is just so complicated and complex. Lynn Polino says, internet seems constipated, but I got you on YouTube and listening to the boss on the radio. Enjoying the cheerful voice on that side, by the way. Perfect sub rate. Duh. Yeah, Daryl's kind of a family vacation out there right now. So Lynn's sister, and the senator is playing over on Boss 104 right now, you know, and she's done that radio thing. I wonder how many times she said cat. A midday rendezvous, something like that. 9:37, and looking over at a couple of stories that I've got in front of me that I haven't riffed on yet. You can bet on stiff penalties for violating carnival gambling rules. I don't even know which TV station put this out. Like it or not, gambling is covering the cost for the government. But what are the penalties for vendor violations? You must be at least 21 years old to play the games of chance. And if anyone under the age is caught inside the house of cards, there are consequences. $1,000 for the first offense, $5,000 for the second offense, and game over for third offense with an additional 5-year ban on participating on any bids for the carnival.
That's KUAM.
Is it? Okay. Well, I'm glad that they went out there and did all that. So they got to be vigilant about the people that are in there. Any and all revenues derived from penalties will be appropriated to the Guam Behavior Health and Wellness Center. Isn't that nice? Violations on maintenance or not returning the location to pre-carnival conditions will result in the loss of their deposit, which is $5,000 for House of Cards, $1,000 for other games of chance vendors, deposits for food court and rides, carnival games, etc., $500, $200, and $100 respectively. And that, according to Daphne Shimizu and her staff. taken measures to prepare for all of that carnival goodness. But again, there's carnival. What time do they open? 4, something like that in the afternoon? You don't know?
Haven't heard.
There was... We'll check on somebody in the media. Maybe somebody in the media might know. I don't know. Then there's this story here. It's been floating around for a couple of days. Outrigger to hire an archaeologist to examine the alleged artifacts, which is this crazy story about a guy walking by a thing over at the Outrigger and said, "Holy smokes, those are artifacts of my people." And the people at the Outrigger go, "I don't know how those got here. We don't know what they are." So, and turns out there was another guy that works at the Outrigger, but not, I think, for the Outrigger, that was digging through all that stuff. He said, "Yeah, it's rocks. They're just kind of rocks and boulders. They're not, we're not talking about in tools of the indigenous. They're not the whatever it is that you think they are. They're not."
Right, yeah.
So
well, I think the guy that called suspected that they might have been laddie stones that had been broken down and, used as, construction filler.
Or lusong or something like that. Anyway, so they got Vic April's going to go and take a look at it. We'll find out what it is, and the chances are like he's going to do one of those. Yeah, as it turns out, sure enough, they are rocks. And let's not try to make a big deal about everything. Is it possible that we can just have a pile of rocks and not have automatically everybody go, "Oh my God, there's desecration. Desecration of our culture, stealing our culture from us." Okay. Anyway, so there's that. GovGuam must submit strategic plan for crime-fighting assistant grant. No, we don't. We just need tougher judges. Where was it? See, now I'm going to have to dig it out. Where's the story from Richard? It's the editorial section. Like I said, of one of the newspapers here this morning. He hits it on the head. I'm agreeing with him because he basically agrees on me. Here's Lee Weber's take on it from, is this today's? Yeah, today's paper. Politics is at the heart of violence issue. If you scan the arrest blotters during the past few years, you would have seen this gradual creep of violence out from the home communities you'd spent years reading about and into communities that are heretofore had not been touched by violent behavior. It's one thing when you've got these crimes, this violence that occurs at the Himlani apartments, right? It's another thing when it happens within a half a mile of the University of Guam and Guam Community College, and it involves Micronesians with machetes, and they bang on former Senator and CCU Commissioner Judy Gutherts. That's the change, isn't it? Isn't that what's catching everybody's attention? Maybe even us evil guys in the media, right? It's happened before when it was Micronesian on Micronesian crime in the Himlani apartments, and nobody really. I mean, there were some people got excited about it, but not to the degree that we were exaggerating the other day, right? So all of a sudden, oh my. It's happening to Judy, and it's happening right there in Manilao, in the heart of the educational district. How can it be? Politics, he says. We've got, never been politically expedient to talk about that problem. Well, now that it's happening to Judy, now it's a little bit more of a political issue. To the degree that they're paying attention over at the legislature, maybe. I don't know. As I said, there's only one bill out there that seems to make any kind of sense, and Jimmy Moylan has authored this bill. I don't know if he's got any cohorts on it, but asking the question about how do we prevent, not so much the crime. Crime's crime, right? There's always going to be crime. But how do we better prevent this kind of thing from happening, especially the felony on felony crimes, where you've got somebody that's already been arrested for touching little girls or little boys. You got somebody that's already been arrested for dealing crystal methamphetamine. You got somebody that's already been arrested for armed robbery. They go before a judge, they get magistrated, and then the paperwork goes through, and they're released on their own personal recognizance.
Okay, there's your stop right there. You do not let somebody like that out on personal recognizance.
But they do, right? So how do we prevent that? Bill 160 would make it so the judge shall, not may, shall consider the following factors. Number one, the nature of the offense charged, the apparent possibility of conviction, and the likely sentence. So if it is something like, what I was talking about, that has to be one of the considerations. The history and characteristics of the person charged, including the length of time they've been on Guam. So somebody that's been here for a long time, maybe we're looking and say this guy might be worthy of a little bit of personal recognizance because he's been here, he's invested, he's got skin in the game, if you will. But somebody like Michael Knight, only been here for a couple of years, flight risk.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get in trouble. And I'm, like I said, put the hair up in a man bun because Michael Knight would never wear that.
Nope.
Go to the airport with sunglasses and file Chapter 777. Come and find me. His or her employment status in history and financial condition, family ties and relationships, reputation, character, mental and physical condition, any prior criminal records, if any, including any record of prior release on recognizance or on bail.
Where are we getting these judges that they don't already consider these things?
His or her history relating to drug or alcohol abuse, the identity of the reasonable members of the community who will vouch for his or her reliability. Tell you what, Jimmy, there's a hole in that one there. Whether at the time of the current offense or arrest, he or she was on probation, parole, or on other release pending trial, sentencing, appeal, or completion of sentence of an offense under federal, state, or local law. History of compliance with other court orders. The nature and seriousness of the danger the person would pose to the community or to any individual member thereof if released.
Third-party responsibility is a waste of time. You cannot hold them liable, even if they are not responsible for this person.
Yeah.
What can you do to them? They didn't commit the crime.
Right.
So you
you're
can't really hold them.
You're going to release somebody back to his parents who haven't been able to control him since he was 5 years old?
Exactly.
So what difference is it going to make there?
That should be discontinued entirely.
Statement of the alleged victim or others as to previous incidences of violence, lethality, risk assessments, or other risk assessments deemed appropriate by the judiciary. Any other factor which bear on the risk of willful failure to appear or the danger the person would pose to the community or any individual member thereof if released. So there's and then there's a couple of additions and pursuant tos and redirects to the Guam Code annotated. But it seems to me that it's just a matter of common sense. I mean, we don't need to have check marks on all of this stuff. The guy has been accused of messing around sexually with little kids. That just the accusation alone, and the fact that there was sufficient evidence to bring it to the courts, that ought to be good enough to keep you in jail.
They better be glad I'm not a judge, because I'd make those kind of guys wear a special jumper that let everybody know.
Yeah,
they were messing sexually with little kids.
Then you've got the other guys, drug pushers. As far as I'm concerned, the drug pushers, just shoot them. But apparently we've got this innocent until proven guilty thing. All right, I understand. I understand.
I hate it when that happens.
Just get in the way of my plans for world domination.
Right.
So anyway, but once we find him guilty, then we can shoot him. There ought to be that thing. It is the scourge of this island. It's a scourge of everywhere. And talking to a couple of friends about it, and one who just came back from Washington State, where there's Bula, Chamorro Tao up there. Plenty of Chamorros that live up in that part of the country. And you know what? There's an ice problem there, too. You go up to Canada, there's an ice problem there. And the question that I had, and maybe I'll find a public health professional, i.e. a doctor, somebody that might know what the answer to the question was. And I might have brought this up years ago when it was the 70s and we were having a problem with heroin. Mm-hmm. There was methadone. Yeah. There was a way that the kids could go and see somebody that really wanted to quit, and we would unhook you from heroin, but hook you to methadone, which was I guess, easier to come to get away from.
Yeah.
That was the theory, right?
Right, that's,
yeah. So you're still hooked, but this one will take care of the feelings of withdrawal, but now you're hooked on that. But it will be easier to wean you off of that, and maybe won't kill you. So we had these programs there, and I'm wondering is there a methadone, is there a substitute for crystal methamphetamine?
There's really not, and I'll tell you why. It has everything to do with physiology, okay? Heroin is a depressant. It brings you down. So you can simulate that, and you can kind of fool the body into weaning off of the real stuff. Meth being an upper, it's a little different situation because there are already so many uppers in our diet and everything anyway. You can't really come up with something synthetic. Meth is already synthetic. It's already chemicals in itself. Keep in mind, heroin comes from a plant. It comes from the opium plant.
Right, but I'm just saying there's got to be some way. I don't understand how it's possible that we might be able to. We should be able to go in and do a cocktail of some kind that will be similar to the high for crystal methamphetamine. Yeah. So these guys that are, these ice junkies and these ice zombies that are out there might be able to have something that they can take that is not meth. Give them some of the same joyride that they get on meth, but is not meth and might be something that is easier to break the habit of.
Yeah, and again, I agree that there should be. It's just because meth is already chemicals, and keep in mind, most of these chemicals you actually should not be putting in your body to begin with. That's why you get the reaction you get. To make something to simulate that is going to be as dangerous as the drug itself.
The other part of Bill 160 that we're talking about, and I just got this from Senator Moylan's office. I guess they heard me talking about it. Said, hey, this is what it has to say. Bill 160-35 further requires that those charged with certain crimes who are released because they posted bail would be required to wear an electronic monitoring device, one which they would have to pay for. Senator Moylan has further indicated that his office is working on the language on bail requirements to establish stringent requirements for those charged with heinous crimes. And so we'll see where that goes. It's been in the hopper for a while in Jimmy's head, but it is one of those cases where the sad reality in my mind is that we now have to legislate the activities of the bench. Mm-hmm. We now have to make it. We basically have to put a corral around the judges, and make it so that the judges have less latitude in these cases where you've got somebody that might be getting convicted of what we think are pretty awful crimes around here, and the dissatisfaction that we have with any of the sentencing and the constant catch and release that we've got apparently out of the courtrooms.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting to see what will happen now that this is out there in public. Obviously, it will eventually get some kind of a public hearing, and I'm wondering how many members of the bar. I'm wondering how many of the working judges in this town will show up to the legislature and talk about it being unconstitutional. Trying to bridge where it's not appropriate. The third branch of the government. Stay in your lane, legislature. We're the judiciary, and you can't tell us what to do.
But one of the legislature's responsibilities is to look out for those that have voted them in, and that's part of the deal, man, is making sure that the laws protect us, too. And if the judges aren't going to do that on their end, then maybe they should be inspired in some way.
Yep. Well, or just make it so that they have to get elected. Like politicians do. Yes. 9:51 in the morning. Tell you what, quick break, and then we'll close up the program in a sec.
2-for-1 dinner time is back at Ruby Tuesday Guam. That's 2 fresh garden bars, 2 tasty entrees, and a sweet dessert to share for just $25.99. 2-for-1 dinner time for limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
Experience the Take Care difference. Take Care members can count on accessing a high-quality, credentialed network of on-island providers, including the convenient one-stop FHP Health Center and Urgent Care, access to an extensive off-island network of providers, and the island's largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs. You can count on Take Care to deliver comprehensive, accredited insurance coverage and quality health care when and where you need it. Take Care. Our island, your health plan. Learn more at takecareasia.com.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. My name is Alicia Blas from Agate, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Putehi Igomamu. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Because I'm vanidoso, that's why. I'm looking over the Facebook, and you would think on a day like today, where you got a major carrier in town and they're having internet outages and things like that, you'd think that I would be a little bit more focused on the job. But the truth of the matter is, I'm looking at one of my own posts on Facebook because I want to see how many Valentine's likes I got on it. What? You do it too. It's not enough to get the thumbs up, is it? That used to be plenty. Once upon a time, that used to be the sign. Oh, my God, there's people that like my post. They agree with me. They think I'm funny. Yay. Now it's all about the Valentine's likes. That's my thing.
I'm sorry. I'm your stick in the mud, man. I post things for my own enjoyment, and I could care less if anyone votes it up, down, smiles, frowns, whatever.
Yep. And that's okay. We balance each other out that way, I think. But I got the Valentine's like Monica and Yvette and Mona and Jennifer and Tegan and Anthony. Anthony? Hansel? Gretel? Loida and Kayanne and Mo. Mo, I did get the congratulatory message you sent out last week. That was very nice. Michelle. Oh, this is my friend Michelle Franquez. She got a Valentine's like on this. And I'm going to Valentine's like something that she was talking about on her page on Facebook called a snacksident.
Oh, that already sounds good.
Right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like you were only going to eat like a slice of pizza, and then you ended up eating the whole thing.
Or you accidentally fix up a bowl of vanilla ice cream, and then for some miraculous accident, chocolate syrup gets spilled on it.
Darn it. The snacksident, I was only going to have the one beer. That counts, right?
I hope so.
Anyway, so now that I've distracted I have to distract myself from the distraction. Getting back to Docomo, they have posted online. And thank you for your understanding as internet and cable services are being restored in Guam and the CNMI. Our restoration team reports that certain areas are back online. Not all, but while internet and cable services are being restored, please note that mobile, voice, and data are unaffected. If you're having trouble getting through our customer care center, you can always reach our team by emailing customercare@docomopacific.com or by sending us a direct message on our Facebook accounts. Our team will continue to respond to inquiries and keep you posted until all services are fully restored. And so what we used to refer to in the cable biz as AP, area problem.
Okay.
So you could call them up, and there used to be, God, I used to know all the guys that did the recording, right? So they would, if everything was okay, they'd say there are no problems with the cable that we're aware of at this time. So if you're having difficulties, the problem is with your set. Or maybe it's an isolated problem. But every once in a while, you get into cases where there'd be a couple of area problems, and we'd be able to identify pretty handily where those problems were and, nail it down to individual streets and things like that. So you call them up and say, there'd be a recording, that we got a problem, area problems in Mighty over by the old Manglotnia store, or up in Barragata by Vinny's or something like that. But today it looks like it was an island-wide issue with Docomo. Definitely an AP with a big A being Guam and Saipan, and the CNMI with some of these internet services. I got my fingers crossed that they're probably going to get everything repaired and restored at 9:59:59, right? Which means I will have spent the entire morning basically talking to myself and Mike, and then the problem will magically go away, and that's all right because it'll make it so that anything that I say that you agree with or disagree with, you can call Tall Tales at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, programming note before it gets to be 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm not going to be here next week. Starting Monday, is it Monday? Yeah, I'll be out of town, but I'm coming back. The guy that's going to keep the seat warm is Daryl Taggarty, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. In fact, it's possible he might be here tomorrow, day after, to conduct some kind of training, and it's basically just sitting in a chair and watching me for 3 hours, 4 hours, because it's not that difficult of a show to pull off. You get on. You look at the camera every once in a while. You make a joke with Mike, or you try to be serious with Kevin, or the opposite. Sometimes you can be serious with Mike and crack jokes with Kevin. You might want to pretend to talk about sports. All of those things. Like I said, it's a very easy program. Well, it's easy for me. I'm not the producer. I don't know. Is this an easy show for you to produce for the most part?
It is when you're in here.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll train him to be just like me. Promise. It's 9:58 and change. And one last story, because I am talking about doing some degree of traveling, being out of town. It's a trade show. So first thing is a visit to St. Luke's so they can poke and prod me and prick me with needles.
Yeah, we'll get the bad stuff out of the way.
And then, no, I'm not doing that this time. I did it the last time I was there, so I don't need to do it for a couple more years.
Anytime you go to a doctor is not good.
But there's that, and then there's a trade show that I'm going to be attending down in beautiful, beautiful Singapore. And I always go down to Singapore and go, you know what? I'm going to find whatever it is, whatever the trick is that they're doing in Singapore. I want to figure out what it is so that we can do it here.
Caning.
And be the Singapore of the Western Pacific. I think that would be cool. Oh, because those guys, they seem to have it together. Now, I'm not nuts for caning. I tell you what, based on some of the magistrate reports I'm seeing anymore these days, I might rethink that. Maybe we could bring that would be just perfect, right? The Department of we're going to have public demonstrations. Here's your justice. We go into jail for 30 days, or I give you 30 lashes. Call the ball. Decide now. Remember Deer Hunter? Mow. What, 10 already? Okay, so check Bison again tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock for the show. For Kevin Kerrigan and Michael Knight and the occasional Blake Watson, this is Ray Gibson saying thanks so much for listening. I'll catch you in the morning on this here radio station. We're KUSG Agana, headquarters on Guam for Fox News.
Judge came up with a solution, a 5-foot physical barrier separating their seats. At a council meeting a few days ago,
others injured after a construction crane collapses into a downtown Dallas apartment building and parking garage during severe weather. Officials say 2 of those injured are in critical condition. This woman's apartment was damaged in that collapse.
I went next door to doors, knocking on doors, making sure everybody was okay. A few people came out, they were okay next to us. The man next door, he was yelling for help. I knocked on his door and he cracked it open enough for me to get to him, and I helped pull him out of his apartment.
Winds in excess of 70 miles per hour had been forecast to accompany the storm. President Trump says he may renew his tariff threat against Mexico if it doesn't cooperate on border issues. Acting Homeland Security Secretary Kevin McAleenan says the Trump administration has procedures and plans in place to ensure Mexico complies.
There's a mechanism to make sure that they do what they've promised to do, that there's an actual result, that we see a vast reduction in those numbers.
The White House pushing back on a New York Times report that Mexico had already agreed to most of the immigration actions several months ago. The House Intelligence and Judiciary Committees plan